Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hello.
Salaman.
Yeah,
Salam alaikum.
that's not me about to speak. I'm just saying salams. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Walaikum assalam. All good.
Okay, all good.
Yeah,
Alhamdulillah.
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 Looking
Alhamdulillah.
forward to this.
Yep,
God
same,
willing.
same. It's been a while. Um, it's been a while since I've returned to this. So, okay. So, yeah, let me just get straight into this. So last time we left off, speaking about let me try to pull this up. Okay. So last time we left off speaking about Isa alayhi salam. So obviously this book it did begin with focus on cosmology, but now it's ended up as some of you might be aware, 50-50. So the book is actually like 50% cosmology, 50% what I would call chronology, but in the sense of study of the end of time, um, looking at the hour, because yeah, naturally from looking at the deceiver in the Quran, as I've mentioned previously, there's only one deceiver, which is Shaitan. We've gone through that. And then we also mentioned previously about the Mahdi, that is mentioned in the Quran, and it's the cradle that Isa alayhi salam is in. And then by that point, I realized, yeah, it feels right to have a look at this whole issue about the Sunni and even Shia belief, as far as I know, that Isa alayhi salam is a sign of the hour. So yeah, so it felt right to have a look into this area about yeah, Isa alayhi salam not being a sign of the hour and actually the Quran being a knowledge for the hour. So I don't want to go into any of that because we've spoken about these things in previous recordings. But since then, when we did do the whole that crucifix video, which was brilliant, it was amazing. Alhamdulillah, still is one of the best things we've ever looked at. And especially when we discuss this, just amazing things do come from some of these discussions, even when we think we know everything. And when we speak with people, we realize, oh my God, there's just so much to connect to everything. So let me just minimize this. Okay, so yeah, the Messiah. And let me just begin with here. Okay, so I've called this section Every Night We Die a Little. So I used to believe in what some people believe is like five or more proofs in the Quran that Isa alayhi salam is returning in the end of time. This is something that is commonly believed in. So one of the proofs is that they say is that one of the verses is that Allah took his soul. Actually, this isn't going to work. Let me bring this up on the Word document. Sorry, just a second. Yeah, so I've gone through all of the proofs that they say, like for example, the Kahlan, that he's going to return miraculously as an adult. Um, they go through. So we're going to start off with this one. Every night we die a little. So this word tawaffakum is as far as I remember. So actually, let me begin. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Okay. Right. So every night we die a little. Okay. So before I do begin going into this, I just like a few words from anyone about yeah, Isa alayhi salam returning. Anything on your minds about people believing in him returning, using proofs within the Quran, what we're being faced with right now, maybe Jerusalem. I don't know anything that is on anyone's mind.
Hello.
Yep. Yep. You're unmuted. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember what's the brother's name from Turkey?
Oh,
Negato?
oh yes, yes, brother Nagato, yes.
Yeah, his video
Mm.
uh he was exploring the I think it was I don't remember the word, but it was a word like cause to die, and he was
Yes.
exploring the verses that pertain to Isa
Yes.
and all the other verses throughout the Quran where that word is used, and they would they were translated differently. It's something that really stood out to me that they're using either they're using outside influences to translate,
Mm.
you know,
Mm.
sort of bend the Quran to fit,
Yep.
whatever narrative. So I
Yep.
always thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, no, you're right. So that's where the truth comes when we look for consistency rather than the irregularity that we find when it comes to one verse that they insist. Yeah, so as far as I know, people will insist that in one verse it doesn't mean that Allah will make him die. They say that, oh, this means that Allah will take his soul. But that's exactly what we're going to look at right now. Um, so the resurrection, so as I've got written here, can you guys see on screen the document?
Yeah.
Okay, so the resurrection of Isa alayhi salam is prophesied in the Quran. See, this is what's funny. When you actually think about a lot of what we believe, it's like there's always an element of some kind of truth in that. And so let me just bring up the verse. And yeah, brother Nu, Igor, I remember you mentioned something about this order as well, which struck me, not at the time, but afterwards when I listened to the recording, and I thought you were absolutely right. Um, yeah, if you just want to remind everyone what you mentioned about this, the ordering on this verse.
Which verse are you talking about? Sorry.
Peace on me, the day I was born and the day I will die, and then
Oh,
be raised alive.
yeah. The day I'm sent forth. Yeah. So it's like, why is the yawm? Because usually a bath
Mhm.
in Arabic is referring to, like, they translate it many times
Yeah,
as raised alive.
yeah,
So the idea is there's one day that actually happens,
yes,
and that's the day it happens for everybody, pretty
yes,
much.
yes.
Um, so if that happened before the day he dies,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't understand. I mean, what we're led to believe is that Yahya alayhi salam and Isa alayhi salam, they have the same structure
Yes.
in how it's being said, because
Yep.
for Isa he's speaking in first person,
Mhm.
and Yahya it's spoken of him in third person.
Mhm.
That's the only difference. It's the same order, the same language.
Yep.
Um, and I think Sam Gerrans brought this up a while ago, that if
Right.
you believe that Isa, this means Isa is basically, he was born miraculously
Mhm.
and then he was raised, but that's not mentioned in the verse. And
Yes.
then he comes back,
Yep.
lives maybe 40 years as the Caliph of the world and dies, and
Mhm.
then he's raised alive.
Mhm.
How on earth does that apply to Yahya? Because
Yeah.
you can't have the same verse
Absolutely.
by the same author.
Yes,
Um,
1915, for those who want to see the reference, what Brother Igor is speaking about. This is the Yahya alayhi salam one, and then later comes the Isa alayhi salam one, 33,
right.
identical. Yep. Sorry, carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just he's spoken of as in third person.
Mhm.
And I think it's the reason why is because it's telling us that Isa, he spoke as a child in the
Mhm.
cradle, right?
Yep.
Um, but obviously, Yahya was given wisdom, or I would say more like rulership, as a
Yeah.
boy.
Right.
And how on earth did they translate such a distinctly different story for Isa alayhi salam?
Mhm.
But when they're talking about Yahya, it's just like any other person that would go through the same thing. I'm born, I die,
Yeah.
and I'm raised alive.
Yeah. So
Hmm?
this Ba'tha or
Yeah.
Ab'ath or Ba'tha, this yeah, without going into it deeply myself yet, it does seem to me that it's supposed to be resurrected. Because when people speak about Yajuj and Majuj, again, I've got this funny feeling that that is talking about a resurrection or describing some kind of
Right.
resurrection as well.
The only problem is that Ba'ath is used for just a general idea, like you dispatch somebody like to send a message.
Mhm.
Like for instance, Pharaoh, he uses this word when he's trying to gather people to contest Musa alayhi salam and Harun.
Right.
And then the same idea for the companions in the cave. They Ba'ath sent forth them into the city,
Yeah.
and they showed their leaf.
Right.
The idea is like, yes, it's a day that we associate with
Sent back.
resurrection.
Okay. Yes. So
But it's like,
resurrection is another word for being sent back, but otherwise it means sent back.
yeah, it's like you're dispatching somebody
Right.
either to relay a message or to go from place to place, or like I kind of looked at this word because I was interested in the companions of the cave.
Yes, I remember.
I
Yeah.
thought maybe he was kind of were they like raising them, just like, because death is like sleeping, which I think you're going to get into. And
Yes,
if they were sleeping there for however long, then them awakening would be very similar, almost analogous to awakening from all the people that have died in history on the day of resurrection.
Yeah.
Because they use resurrection for qiyamah. So it's a bit kind of redundant if Ba'ath is raised alive. I think like the idea that the Lord gathers all the souls that have existed from jinn and ins.
Yeah.
They have Jum'ah, they have gathering, they have dispatching. So basically they're coming to him after being raised alive, after being resurrected. It's almost like it's different language talking about the same thing, but nobody would ever say that Ba'ath is anything but resurrection, which is interesting.
Yeah. So okay.
So, why would it single out Isa with that?
Yeah, of course, yeah. But so it's clear that this is talking about Yawmul Qiyamah, when we will all be. Okay, so moving on from that. So this was one of the key areas that we were looking at was in Surah Nisa, Surah chapter 4, 157. Verse 157. And so again, we're not going to go into this now because we've already done that in the last one about the crucifixion. So this is what we looked at, this section. The point was in that verse that clearly, for certain, they did not kill him. Yeah, they did not kill him. This is the emphasis. They did not kill him. It's not a case that he did die, right? They did not kill him. Yeah. So if you look at 4157, so where is that? 4157. What does Allah say? They killed him not. Yeah, they killed him not. So for certain, yeah, they did not kill him. He no doubt, yeah. What does Allah finish with? Yeah, and not they killed him, certainly. For certainly, they did not kill him. Allah was the one who raised him. So again, we've looked at this in previous one. Allah was the one who raised him, rafa'ahu, to himself. Yeah, but rafa'ahu ilay. So Allah is the one who raised him to himself. Allah was the one who was. Now, this is what we're going to get into now. This is the whole point. Every night we die a little. Allah was the one who was making you die. Yeah. So now this is probably sounding strange as I say this, but I'm going to explain this. So mutawaffika, right? 4158. So as you can see, wait. So that's Rafa'u. So where's the 355? Let me bring that up. So that's the way this book is kind of arranged. It's not giving you every single verse, but it is displaying the verses that you do need to see, and the rest people can have a look at for themselves. 355. Okay. So mutawaffika. Yeah, there it is. So look, when Allah said, "Oh Isa, I will." So they say take you, but so making you die, mutawaffika, right? Allah was the one who was making you die. Let me see what. Actually, I think I've got it here anyway. Completing. So basically, as far as I can see, the wafa or mutawaffika is completing, terminating, or fulfilling a term. Yeah. And in this case, fulfilling his term, alayhi salam, his term on earth. So does raise him, rafa'ahu, and raise you, wa rafi'uka, require a discussion if making you die is correctly translated. So does, the whole issue when because this is what people argue about, right? They say that, no, Allah raised him, and he said, I will raise you, right? But does the nature of this raising require a discussion if we correctly translate mutawafika as making you die? So this is my question, but it will become clearer as I go through this. So only a handful of translators seem to remain close to the word's true translation. So you got Mufti Taqi Usmani, who said, taking you in full. I can show you here. Yep. Where does he say it? Yeah, take you in full. So here, Mufti Taqi Usmani said, I will take you in full. Why would he say full? Because they know that this word, tawafa, has got something about completing, something. And then there's Mustafa Khattab, who's make you reach the end of your worldly term. Yeah. So Mustafa, yep, he said, make you reach the end of your worldly term. So this is the verse that people say is kind of vague and it's not clear, and it leaves room for people to interpret it the way that it suits them. But that's not the case if you stick true to what that word is. There's one more,
Yeah.
few more. Abdul Majid Daryabadi, where is he? So he's got make thee die. Why would he choose make thee die? And then you've got, anyway, so I won't go through all of them, but then you've got terminate the period of your stay on earth, Muhammad Habib Shakir. Then you've got Dalal Litani, terminating your life. So clearly, people could see, students of the Quran could see that, there was something like some kind of death. So I commend Abdul Majid Daryabadi for being spot on. What did he say? Where is he? Yeah, make thee die. He's the only one. Precise. No beating around the bush. He was loyal to the true translation of the word of Allah. The death. So this is what we're going to look at. Al-Maut, yeah? This is what is people saying that he did not experience Maut. This is what they say. That Isa alayhi salam did not experience Maut, yeah? He did not experience death. So they say two things. He did not experience Maut, nor did he die. But die is tawafa. See, this is what we're going to look at.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and die. Oh, yeah. So what they say is, no, Allah started the dying process, but it wasn't completed. So therefore, he did not experience Maut. You see what people say and do.
Well, why did the Mustafa Al-Khattab
Yeah.
translator? I mean, if you go to his, he says, reach the end of your worldly term.
Right.
I mean, I know that guy is really, he's proved his, worth when it comes to translating the Quran. However, if he's to be taken at face value, that has huge complications for the second coming of Jesus, because that would be in this world. And why would he complete his worldly term only to come back?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay. So this is what I say, the death, al-maut, and die. By any chance, has the color changed for you guys on your screen? Because it's just turned sunset and my computer does this thing where when it turns sunset, it turns on the blue, was it the blue light filter thing? Can you guys still see?
It looks
It
fine
looks
to
the
me.
same.
Yeah, it looks fine.
It looks fine.
That's one, okay. Then it's just for me. Okay, so the death, al-maut, and die, tawafa, appear to be inseparable. This is another point I'm making. These two are definitely connected. So you just have to look at these verses now. So let's look at 4:1:5. 4:1:5. All right, this is one example. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but just this one as an example. Ah, yes. So this is what you're going to find. People find it difficulty. I've found people finding it difficult to translate even within some of these verses. So what do you have here? Yeah, about the guilty women, keeping them in their houses until death takes them. All right. The point is, yeah, what's used? Look, maut and that's it. Yatawaffahunna. Can you see they've left out the whole making die?
Yeah.
Yep. Yatawaffahunna. They've left the whole making die because they don't understand this Quranic Arabic the way it's being spoken, and they try to fit it in a way that makes sense in our English. But you see, what Allah is saying, now if you try, you can say, the death makes them die. Yeah. That sounds a bit strange, but That's because of what we're used to in our language, but I'll give you some more examples. So wait, yeah, this is the best one, the angel of death. Yeah. So you got maut and yatawaffakum on this one. So wait, this one. Um, so what is it about the guilty women? So yeah, the ones who've been guilty committing fawahish, I think. Yeah, call to witness against them, testify, then confine them in their houses until the death makes them die. So it's like when your death has been appointed, that will only happen to you by you dying. Yeah. Does
Yeah,
that make
exactly.
sense? When your death, when Allah has decreed that maut is now coming upon you, that will only happen by you dying. Yeah. So there is the death, which is the finality, and there is the dying. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you know, when your cell phone runs
Yeah.
out of battery, you say like my phone died, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it's like it's basically just asleep. It just has
Right.
no power. There's
Right.
nothing going on.
Right.
In
Right.
Arabic today, they use this for like to turn off the TV, say tuwafi TV. It's the
Okay.
same word.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. This helps. Yeah. Right.
But the ones that you picked, I'm just looking right now,
Yep.
are very particular because every single one says die
Mm-hmm.
or take the soul, except that one, 415, where it comes to them. And
Mm-hmm.
the other one is we'll take your soul, yatawaffakum, right?
Right.
But everywhere else it's die, die, death, death,
Yes,
die.
yes, exactly. So this, so now if you stick to what the word is, then there's no problem. We don't need to argue about this whole raising him, yeah, where people leave room,
Yeah.
you know, how Allah raised him. If you keep to this word tawaffa for what it is. So now, but this is the best one. Even if people disagree, this is the best one. What are you telling me? The angel of death will take your, you know, it's not make you die. Okay, so wait, 32:11. Um, so yeah, again, this is supposed to be make you die. Say, the angel of death, Malakul Maut, will make you die. Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see if it was anyone. Did anyone use that? No, they wouldn't use that because they don't understand how to use this phrase. I don't think anyone would use this, but that's what
It's
it is.
very common. It's
Yeah.
very common in like Arabic speaking world.
Oh,
If
here it is.
someone
Here it is. Here it is.
dies,
Here it is. Look, in literal. Look,
yeah.
the angel, yeah. So the death's angel, look at how they've got it. Say, Kul, the death's angel who was appointed a keeper to you makes you die. See, they know this. Yeah, makes you die. Literally, it means that the angel of death makes you die. We know Allah decrees our maut, yeah, but obviously Allah
Hmm.
has the angel of death that will take care of this issue, right? Say the
Mm.
angel of death will make you die. Yeah, the one who has been put in charge of you. Then to your Lord you will be returned. So here is
Yeah.
make you die. So that's make you die. Okay, yatawaffakum is agreed upon here to mean make you die. Yet people refuse to agree it means the same in other verses. Yeah, yatawaffakum. So now you've got here in 660. Okay, so وَهُوَ الَّذِي يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَيَعْلَمُ. This one is, so, and he is the one who makes you die by the night. So now this is where it's going to get interesting as we talk about this whole night issue. Um, okay, and he is the one who makes you die by the night, and he knows what you committed by the day. Then he resurrects you. Is that ba'thu? Yep. Yab'athukum. Yab'athukum, yeah?
Yeah.
Then he resurrects you therein, so that a specified term may be fulfilled. Then to him will be your return. Then he will inform you about what you used to do. So again, the emphasis here is that word again, yatawaffakum. Allah is the one who makes us die by night. So now this might sound strange again, but again, we're sticking to the what the word means. Yeah. Uh,
Mm.
because yeah, our understanding. So yeah, dying is a process. It's not a completed process. Yeah.
Mm.
So at night we do die. Um,
Mhm.
you can change that in a way that you like describing it better, but for what it should be in the Quran, it is make you die. You can explain that further, what that means. Yeah. So, and he's the one
Y-
who, yeah, sorry, go on. Yeah.
Well, it's like it's just not debatable because if you're like in the Arabic speaking world, whenever someone dies, like let's say someone loses their family member, or this is the word that's used all the time.
Mm,
it's tawaffa because the understanding in the Arabic language is your soul is taken, and this time it's permanent.
Yeah.
So it's just part of the language.
Yeah.
It's like you know, it's always been understood that way, that it's the angels that extract the soul. And Allah it says in that verse, I think Allah takes it by night.
Right.
We don't really know what happens to it during the night, but basically it's like you know, eloquent way of saying that Allah has your soul at all times.
Yes. Yeah. So, okay, so just reminding that this chapter is called Every Night We Die a Little. So we've looked at some of these. So I want us to focus on the Maut and the making you die. So that's Yatawaffakum and Al-Maut. So as you can see, we just spoke about what happens at night. So Allah resurrects us. So actually that's interesting. Allah sends us back, yeah? Those who haven't had the Maut decreed upon them. But look what comes in the next verse. Then you've got Al-Maut in the next verse. So you got yatawaffakum here, and then you've got al-maut. So, and he is the subjugator of his servants, and he sends over you guardians until when al-maut comes to any one of you. So here we go. This is connected, yeah? So you got the dying, right? So people do die at night, right? But they don't necessarily have the death, yeah? That's
it's
what
temporary, yeah.
Right. Okay, so
because it's like if you're not conscious,
right,
you assume
yeah,
you're just not.
yeah.
It's like you know where it says al-maut, right? It's like I think this is talking about only one thing, and that's why it's like al-maut, because there's kind of a usual maut every night.
Right.
This is the one that's permanent.
Yes,
I think.
yes. Okay. And the messengers, as mentioned here, Rusuluna. So obviously we know from reading this, the angel of death is the one in charge. We know which messengers Allah is speaking of, yeah? It's the angel of death that takes them. Okay, so as previously mentioned in verse 32:11, yatawaffakum is unanimously agreed upon to mean make you die. Yet people refuse to agree. It means the same in other verses. Yep, so just reminding. So very few translators agreed that Allah makes us die at night, right? Ahmad Ali used it. He says that Allah sends you to death at night. So people that say that no, Allah takes our souls at night, people have agreed that even that verse about night, even those who do not experience al-maut, the death, and Allah sends them back, they say that, Allah sends you to death at night. So I'm saying here, Allah is the one who makes you die, yatawaffakum, but other translators have said sends you to death at night, Ahmad Ali. Makes you die by night. Karibullah and Darwish. Okay. So the majority tried to retranslate this word, yatawaffakum, into taking souls. This is the point. And therefore use this verse as the basis of the false pretense that Allah did not make Isa alayhi salam die, and that rather he only took his soul. Yeah. This is obviously, this is very important because for me, these two J's seem to be the cause of all the bloodshed or problems in the world right now, and that is Jesus and Jerusalem. Yeah, these two, which are both problematic, but we're not going to go into that. Yeah, yeah. So the verse following it also demonstrates that the death and die appear once again to be attached together. So this is the point. If we find that everywhere Allah speaks about tawaffa and maut together, how can people, that's another thing, that's another support saying that if Allah made him die, yeah, there's got to be the maut somewhere as well, maybe, I think there is. We'll get to that. So the false pretense that yatawaffa, the false pretense that yatawaffakum means taking souls, and that verse 660 supposedly proves that this is some sort of semi-death in the way that we experience in our sleep every night, can be clarified by letting the clear book explain itself. Yeah, the clear book. Was it Kitabun Mubin? I think, what's that explain? Fassalna? I can't remember. But yeah, explain itself. So Allah makes die, yatawaffa. Okay, so this is the one. Allah makes die the selves. I think, yeah, we were correcting that. we were speaking about what nafs is, right? It's not soul.
Mm.
It's ourself, right? It's ourselves. I think I heard Muhammad Sheikh say it's our psyche as well, or our psychology, who we are. So yeah, Allah makes die, yatawaffa, the nafs, the anfus. Yeah, the anfus. Allahu yatawaffa al-anfus, anfusa hina, mawtiha. And so Allah makes die the souls at the time of its death. And the one that does not reach death, in their sleep. Okay, so here we have al-maut again, mawtiha, damut. Look at that. It's all death, yeah? Yatawaffa. Yatawaffa, mawtiha, damut, al-maut. So Allah makes die the souls at the time of its death. So that's what it is. That's what it is, yeah. Allah makes die the selves at the time of its death. And the one that does not reach death in their sleep. Okay, so this is the important thing. Allah makes both of them die. I don't know if you guys can see this. Okay, this is where it's going to get very interesting. Allah makes both of them die. Look at this. They haven't done this correct translation. Allah makes die the selves at the time of its death and the one that does not reach death in their sleep. I'm going to pick up this verse. So he keeps the one for whom he has decreed for them al-maut and sends the others for a specified term. So am I right in saying, and I think I am, but you guys can be the judge, that Allah makes both of these die? Yeah? Allah makes both of these die. Allah makes die the selves at the time of its death and the one that does not reach death. Do you get that?
It's the same process, yeah.
Right. So this is why I was convinced that we do die at night, even in our sleep, even though we're not dying properly. We are dying. Because look, this Allah is saying it himself. I don't need to say it. Allah makes die the selves at the time of its death and the one that does not reach death in their sleep. So he keeps the one for whom he has decreed for them the death, al-maut, and sends the others for a specified term. Indeed, in that surely are evidences for a people who reflect. Okay, so maybe give that a bit of a, maybe digest that a little bit before I explain this again. So I've broken this down. Let me bring up the verse in case that helps. So yeah, I had to, and this is what it is about the Quran. You really have to sometimes take a long time in just really trying to break down one verse. And yeah, that's the nature of this. So look, Allah, Yatawaffa, makes die two types of anfus. Yeah. The self whose time for death, hina mautiha, has arrived. And the self that does not reach death, lam tamut, in their sleep. 3942. Let's see what they put.
Yeah, because, it's like the people that are dead, right, throughout all of history, they are somewhere. Allah says that they are like, there's something after. There's like some kind of a realm or something,
right,
where they're waiting still.
Right.
But they don't experience time like us, because when they're awakened, they think they've been only asleep for a day or an hour.
Right.
But the fact is, it's compared to sleep.
Right. Okay. Those who have, sorry, can you repeat that? Those who have?
Yeah, so everyone that's died, it's like in all of history, because the Day of Judgment is for all of time.
Yeah.
It sounds like those people are actually sleeping. Like wherever they are.
Yes.
It's kind of like sleeping. Like
yes.
when you're dreaming, right? Like normally, and it feels like a very like huge long dream or something, but you've been asleep for like I don't know, 30 minutes.
Yes.
Well, the same idea.
It's interesting you bring that up, because I have a part later on which I'm arguing when Allah describes that it's going to feel like a short moment. Yeah, I think you've come across it when Allah is describing the hour that they're on the day, as-sa'a. There is that description that it's going to feel like that we were here only for a short time, But I think that verse, so people have argued whether that short time experience is talking about our time on earth or whether it's talking about our time in the grave. People have differed. And I'm actually
Yeah.
making the case that no, I think Allah's talking about the short experience of time of the hour on Yawmul Qiyamah. That short time in which all of these events happen very quickly. We are going to experience that moment. Yeah, we'll get to that, but yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned.
It's very possible, you know, like there's like time is speeding up, you know.
Yeah.
Like it was just September a while ago, like yesterday. Now it's almost 2024.
Yeah. Okay, so they have Allah takes the souls. So as you can see, they put souls. It's supposed to be Allah makes die. Yeah. So Allah makes die the selves. Allah, wait, hold on, let me see. Yes, Allah makes die, not souls. So anfus is not souls, it is selves, yeah. So Allah makes die the selves at the time of the death and the one who does not die in their sleep, yeah. So they haven't mistranslated it, but I think people are maybe missing this fact that Allah makes two types of people die. Yeah. It makes, can you see that here? That Allah makes two types of
Yeah.
people. Yep.
Yeah, everything comes in pairs, right? Like this is
Right.
one of those instances.
Yeah. All right. So okay, so that's that. Both types of the self experience, yatawaffa, makes die, dying, but both do not experience al-maut. Yeah. The self type 1, whose time for death has arrived, who expectedly experienced yatawaffa, makes dying, is siku, is kept. Yeah. So where is the word siku? Yeah, here it is. So who is it that Allah keeps? Allah keeps the one. So the self type 1, whose time for death has arrived, who expectedly experiences yatawaffa, makes is kept. This is the one that Allah keeps. But the type number 2, the self-type number 2, whose death is not reached in their sleep, who also experiences yatawaffa, makes die, is, however, وَيُرْسِلُ, yeah, sent back for a specified term. But both types,
Sent back.
but both types of the self experience yatawaffa, yeah, makes die. But both do not experience both. Everyone experiences yatawaffakum, makes us die every night in our sleep, but only some experience the death. What should hopefully be clear is that yatawaffakum always means makes you die. This is the point at the end of the day. Yeah?
Right.
They're connected. Tawaffa and maut is connected, but what yatawaffa means, yatawaffakum or tawaffa, it is making you die. The one who makes you die. So here's some more examples for those who aren't convinced. Yeah, 10:104.
He's the only one with the power to do that.
Yeah.
That's something important.
Besides Allah, I serve Allah, the one who causes you to die. Can you see that? Yatawaffakum. Yeah. I serve Allah, the one who causes you to die. Yeah. So this is the point I'm making. Yeah. Right. So how can you shift away from this? Yeah. Allah is the one who causes you to die. Here's another one. Then who? Allah makes you die. Yatawaffakum. 1670. So making the case and now proving it with other verses.
I think you mentioned, brother, how they say that when Allah is taking the soul of Isa alayhi salam, they think that's just, he just took the soul and left the body, right? So he didn't die.
Yeah, this narrative.
This is the same argument Christians make.
Yes,
it's identical.
Because it slipped in, because this whole narrative slipped in, right?
But we're not saying that he died on the cross at all. I don't think he was even on the cross.
I don't
think
either, yeah.
It's like, why even invoke that scenario?
Yeah.
Why don't they talk about after the crucifixion? He was probably still alive. I mean, we were just talking about his term on earth. I mean, they talk about the crucifixion. It's funny.
Yeah. So here's another example for those who need it. Yeah. And Allah created you, then he will cause you to die. See, I don't just come up with this for those who are skeptical, yeah, just making the point. 1670, because there's nothing like just having proof, clear-cut proof. So one could summarize at this point that is Allah who makes us die, yeah, which I've just given evidence for. Allah makes us die by His decree through His messengers, the angels of death that never fail. Yeah, this is the summary of it at this point. Yeah, so one could summarize, yeah, that this is the case, that Allah makes us die by His decree through His messengers, the angels of death that never fail. This is what we get from these verses in the Quran. So verse 39-42 from the clear book perfectly explains both types of the self they experience making die, yeah, dying. See, instead of, if you don't like makes die, you can even use dying, yeah, they experience dying, yeah. So yeah, verse 39-42, which one is that one? Did I bring up? 39, 42.
It's like Maut describes the completion of the process, but
Right.
Wafa is the process.
The finality, yep. Yep. The finality of their term on earth before
Right.
Yom, until Yomul
That's the
Qiyamah.
end of their test, right? After death, that's why it's so critical
Yeah.
to get your affairs in order before
Yeah.
the end of your test.
Yeah. Because the end is coming suddenly in the twinkle of an eye, and not once certain prophecies and signs have been met. Yep. But anyway, we'll get to that inshallah. From the clear book. So, and surely, yeah, must be the evidence. So verse 39-42. Okay, let me see. What does this one say? Allah takes yep. So this one that we just mentioned earlier. Yep, about the sleep. Yeah. So verse 39-42 from the clear book perfectly explains both types of the self they experience yatawaffa, dying, and surely must be evidence for those who are willing to give this some thought. So this is what it is. Allah is actually telling us. We're giving it thought. Allah's telling us, to give it some thought. Yeah. So inna fi dhalika la ayatil liqawmi yatafakkarun. Yeah. Indeed, in that surely are evidences for people who reflect. And what do we know about
That's a critical one, is the angels of death. They don't fail in what they set out to do.
Yes.
And if there are, Muslims watching or commenting that, believe that, you have to question that. Why is there a hadith where Musa evades the angel of death? And, astaghfirullah, because this whole idea of Isa, coming back, and he never actually completed his term on earth, is not in the Quran.
Yeah.
But there are things outside the Quran as well that go against this idea of the angels of death completing their task.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to think critically. Why would you accept these two things, knowing full well that the Quran is very, very clear about that?
Yeah.
I mean, even with Isa, if it's not entirely clear, it should be clear that the angels of death in those hadith, Sunni hadith, they don't carry out their task because Musa is playing games, astaghfirullah, with Allah's fate. So,
well, I mean, does this story? I mean, we could just go into a whole nother discussion about some of the ridiculous narrations that we hear that are so blasphemous. That's so blasphemous. And
right, it is.
If they're not outright blasphemous, then it just takes a little thinking to think, is this what you think of Allah? Is this what you think Allah would allow? I mean, when it comes to the whole story about how we got 5 times, and again, I'm not going to go into that, but it's
right. That's another
very
example.
Similarly ridiculous, right? It's like,
right.
What, you really think that Allah can be bargained with? You think that you can make
this is like the dealing with death, like you can't play games with that, because that's if death was not fated, then people could potentially escape or prolong their time on earth. And so it would be kind of like it just wouldn't work. Everything wouldn't work in the Quran. That means God would not be all powerful.
Yep, absolutely. All capable, yeah.
Yep.
And so it does seem like that our task on this earth, it seems like now that our task is to sift through and really fine tune what the truth is. That's what it seems like our task is, till death, to continuously remind our own minds, to figure out through our own minds what the absolute truth is, and just get rid of all of the other garbage. It really does look like that. That's
Well,
what.
yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense because you have this word like sadiqeen
Mhm.
or siddiq or musaddaqa, and it's all about like confirmation. It's
Yeah.
related to truth. It's related to charity. Like you're basically strengthening your certainty in
Mhm.
what this book is saying
Yeah.
by ruling all the other things that can't possibly be true, ruling them out of the equation.
Mhm.
When Isa is given the Torah and the Injil, it's like musaddiqan. It uses that word as confirmation, certifying.
Mhm.
That's what this process is, to be from the Sadiqeen. You don't just take whatever is told to you in the, once a week on Friday,
Mhm.
verbatim. You have to look into it yourself
Yeah.
because there's
Verify.
no priesthood in the Quran, unfortunately. It would be nice to have everything spoon-fed to you, but
Yeah.
this is a responsibility, right?
Now that
That's
you
why Allah
mentioned,
makes.
now that you
Yeah.
mentioned priesthood, I think I saw your message. You mentioned Kahin as priest, yeah?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
Kahin.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kohen,
Yeah.
right? Kohen,
Yeah.
Kohanim.
That's it. That's it. That's what you mentioned, Cohen. Yeah. Yeah. We will get to that as well. But yeah, I do believe that Kahin is a priest, like how you said, and I've put that in this document as well, because although they put
Yeah.
Kahin as soothsayer, but I have seen that
Mhm.
it is basically a priest. But ultimately, what is
Right.
a priest and a soothsayer? Can you really differentiate the two?
No, you
Yeah.
can't.
You can't.
It's
Exactly.
very hard because it's like almost they took this idea that we have as religion today,
Yeah.
and then they said, "Oh, this is a priest.
Yeah.
He's like inspired by God. He's knowledgeable."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we take his word pretty much at face value,
Yeah.
if it's for the future, because the nature of the scripture is
Mhm.
it talks about the deepest knowledge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so you can apply this to anywhere. You can say a doctor is like a soothsayer because you're going to take his word and he's
Yeah.
your
Yes.
expert,
Yeah.
right?
But
But
as
because
you
this,
were talking about this, I was
right?
thinking of him, you know,
Oh, right, this guy,
and
yeah,
all of the similar types. I mean, this is just an archetype, but basically, yes, like a
yeah,
priest is saying that such and such will happen for you if you do this. This will happen for you if you do that. You know, do
Allah.
this. Um, yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Yep.
This is humanity's greatest test. It's really about what does humanity think God is,
Mm,
and what will it attribute to God in this life.
yeah.
I mean, Beni Israel were very terrible at that
Mm,
in largely like
yeah.
very bad.
Yeah.
They went from worshiping one man called Pharaoh, and then they went to worshiping something they created from their valuables.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah,
Um,
before we detract too
but
much.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing with death.
Yeah.
Like it's permanent.
Yeah.
You know that verse, brother, where it's like there are two deaths and there are two lives.
Hmm. Yes.
I can't remember the ayahs, but
I,
basically it's interesting idea. Like
mm,
we pre-exist in a
yeah.
death, and then we're born,
It is
and
interesting. It
then
catch my attention. I
right,
need to have a look at that one. Yes. Yeah.
and then we die, and then we're
Yeah.
raised again to live for
Yeah.
eternity. So it's like
Yeah.
that tells you that everything, not just everything comes in pairs, but everything is like accounted for.
Hmm.
So if you're talking about let's say sleep being death, right? That's just the microcosm
Hmm.
of what is happening in the inevitable event, right?
Hmm.
For everybody. It's a microcosm.
Yeah.
There's a Fajr every day, and then there's the Fajr. There's a Layl every day, but then there's the Layl, right?
Right.
So eventually everything is kind of a sign to
Mm.
you.
Yes.
Every minute is a
Yeah.
sign that the real thing is going to happen
Yes.
because everything points to that.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. I agree.
It's
There's always
the symmetry of
there's
it.
always a micro version of the macro. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. We even have dua in Sunni Islam,
Yeah.
basically point to the fact that Allah does take your soul. So
Hmm.
you pray, thank you for having resurrected me every
Yes.
morning.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
There's no debate actually. Yeah, everyone agrees that sleep is death. But
yeah.
somehow for Isa, it doesn't make sense. I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay, so with yatawaffakum clarified as always meaning make you die, we can now comfortably look at this is perfectly timed what you just said. Why is it with Isa alayhi salam? There's the exception. So now let's have a look back at that one, 355. Which is the controversial one. Yeah, when Allah said, "O Isa, indeed I will make you die." That's what it should be. Yeah, because we just looked at all of the tawaffa and tawaffakum. It's all about making die or dying. So what is Allah actually saying? When Allah said, "O Isa, I will indeed make you die." Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now comfortably look
Yeah,
at
look
that.
at the order too. It's
Yeah.
like you die first,
Yes.
then you're raised.
Right.
Wait a second, I thought the death comes after the raising in the traditional narrative. No, it's after the death.
Exactly.
And then it's not just any raising, it's raising to myself. Have people wondered what that means?
Yeah.
Obviously, Allah doesn't exist in time and space, but when it talks about like to myself, or I will go to my Lord, or I will, you're not talking about the dunya. I really think it's something to
Well,
do in the
you're just
afterlife.
giving more support then, for the fact that
Well, yeah, I mean it's kind of obvious, right? It's like
because if
Allah is saying you have
there's
purified
no time and
spouses.
space, if Allah is not confined to time and space, then the
No.
only way that Isa alayhi salam can go to Allah is after dying. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right? You have like what you're doing is great because you're taking this word and you're looking at all the instances of this word, and then you're comparing, okay, how does Allah encompass this word in the Quran to give you the full breadth, right? Well, it says, I will, let's say, take your soul. I will cause you to die and raise you to myself and purify you from those who disbelieved. So why is this ayah just taken as a whole? It's clearly about the day of judgment.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't say on a day, it says towards a day.
Yep.
And then says those who followed you.
You're talking about ilah not being on, meaning towards, yeah.
Yeah, it's towards. Why wouldn't they put towards there? I thought do they care about the book of Allah?
Let me see if I translated that. Hold on. So I have here when Allah said, "O Isa, indeed I am making you die, mutawaffika, and raising you to myself and purify you from those who blasphemed. And I will make those who followed you," so that's past tense, right?
Exactly.
And those who
his test is
followed
done.
you, and those who followed you above those who blasphemed. And what did you say? So I said unto. So you said towards?
Toward a day of the Qiyamah, right? So it's like toward.
Yeah.
We have this notion in Islam, traditional Islam, that there's a straight path. There's like a bridge that everyone walks across to their Lord.
Yeah.
So it's a direction, isn't it?
Yeah. That
And then you have
that Viking bridge, right? What is it?
Oh yeah, I mean there's many, like you have mythological understanding, like in Nordic mythology you have the rainbow bridge or Bifrost that leads to Valhalla, which means the hall of the slain or martyrs, I guess you would say in Islam. And then if you look at this idea, this verse, it's saying, I raise you to myself and purify you. This is going hand in hand with making you die. To me, purification after death could only really, like, just logically make sense in the afterlife, because Allah says they will neither grieve nor will they fear. We clearly grieve and fear in this life.
Absolutely. We can't be
something to do.
We can't be pure here. We cannot be pure here.
Not totally. No. And that's why the purified spouses, right? Because a lot of people, they don't have their soulmates in this life, like it's just the reality of this world. That's why the afterlife is so attractive to the human soul, because like when you talk about Jannah, it's just everything is paired. There's no, Allah says when the souls are paired. there's no need. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to eat. You don't need to be healthy. You don't need to go to work. This world is all about needs. But in that one, it's all about pleasures or wants. You know what I mean? It's like totally opposite. It's totally different.
Yeah.
And so when he's saying, I'll purify you, do people think he's coming back in that form? He's with Allah now. Where is he exactly?
Yeah,
I would like to know.
But they do, don't they? Because they give the description of hands on both wings of angels with hair, with was it water drops from his hair, and they give this description. Yeah, this purified.
If this is amazing to me, because you're saying that these are soothsayers that give this information, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you were talking to me as a Christian, I wouldn't know the difference, because they have the exact same narrative. He comes from the clouds.
This is why,
even with two angels on his shoulder.
This is why I like him or loathe him, that Mufti Abu Layth, he opened my eyes to all of this. Yeah, the
Right.
Yeah.
It's very important. If we have borrowed things in our traditions from what we call Christianity and Judaism today, that's a big problem. That's exactly what the Prophet in Hadith warns about. Doesn't he say, explain the verse in Surah At-Tawbah? They took their scholars and monks as their lords besides Allah. And then I think somebody says to the Prophet ﷺ, but Prophet, what do you mean following them? We don't think they're lords. The Prophet responds, he says, no, I'm not saying they literally worship them. I'm saying they took everything they said. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. They took everything they said as truth. Blind faith, taqleed.
Yes.
This is the issue. This is what Allah, at least in that hadith, in that tafsir by the Prophet, allegedly, he's saying, when you blindly follow what people tell you about God, about the afterlife, this is shirk. This is kufr.
It's amazing what truth you can find in these scriptures. It's amazing.
I know. I know. And this is like 101.
But that's just it. You're going to get both. This is what I found. You're always going to get the contradictions. I mean, just like the poetry. I just wanted to quickly have a look at poetry in the hadith, and I thought I saw both of them. I saw a hadith that's saying that poetry is great wisdom. I saw another one saying poetry is satanic. It's from the devil.
Same with the Bible, right?
Yeah.
It's the same idea. And clearly there's somebody's lying, or I think there's truth in all of these things.
All of these.
But
because it's the only way that they were able to capture minds, because it will capture the majority of people's minds, because the majority of people's minds will be happy to hear just something. They won't necessarily want to investigate what is the rest of this book saying. A lot of people will be just happy to hear something. So therefore, this book now has, or these books now offer something for everyone,
right.
Because they only hear bits. Most people only want to hear bits, parts.
Also, what's interesting about that ayah? It says they're fawqa, as superior, right? This is another problem, because I think people eventually are going to figure out, and inshallah we can.
It's above. Yeah, I've got it here. Above.
It's above.
It's above. You above. So quickly on that.
So it's the same. It's the same ayah as that word to raise, right? Rafa. If raising is the major evidence they have that, I don't know, for lack of a better word, Isa is in the clouds in some dimension of reality. If that's what they have, then explain to me where, because Allah says fawqa here. He distinguishes two similar words in meaning. We don't understand exactly how Jannah looks like, but I would suggest from what I've been looking at is there are definitely levels to it. And it's like, how the heavens are structured in layers, right? One above the other, 7 of them. It's the same thing in the afterlife. It's like you have, I think one in Surah Rahman, it says that the garden is it's like hanging. Right?
Yes, I remember the one.
So that's talking about the upward direction.
It says, and then 2 more gardens, right?
Well, there you go. So is this Rafa just talking about the reward of Isa? Like the reward of the believers who are above those who disbelieved? That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
those who followed
100% sense.
Who followed you are going to be ranked above those who blaspheme.
Yes.
on Yawmul Qiyamah. It's quite clear. You know, this is the easy part to understand. It's only when
Easy.
you're holding on to the baggage of what you've been taught that you're blinded
Yeah,
from what is very clear. Allah speaking about Yawmul Qiyamah. Yes, obviously
exactly.
judging. That's a day of judging people. So it's of course which group is going to be judged as being better or above than the other group. I mean,
Right.
yeah,
It's yeah, he says those who followed you,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
We would say today that Muslims,
yeah,
by and large,
yeah,
who follow the Quran,
yeah.
they believe and follow Isa as well, because
Correct.
they don't make any separation between the messengers, right?
I heard Muhammad Sheikh reiterate this. I'm listening to um, his lecture. I don't know how old it is, maybe 10 years back or more, but it's amazing. I think he's the only one because me and you've been speaking
Hmm.
about Yahud and Nasara, and
Right.
he seems to be the only one that I'm aware of, at least, that it has done the same due diligence in the Quran as what everything that we're doing, and he's pointing out
Yeah,
they're not Christians and these are not Jews. Yeah, that
I
these
was so shocked to hear that. I thought I was
yeah,
like
yeah.
kind of very fringe for
Yeah,
investigating
yeah.
that. And when I saw that old
That's why I said
video,
we need to do this because people need to know.
wow,
People need to know
wow, wow,
Jews and Christians do not exist in the Quran, man. They do not.
they
Um,
can't,
yeah,
because that's problematic when the
yeah,
verses say that they earn
yeah,
that reward.
yeah,
What are you talking about? They're
yeah.
separate religions, you told me, right?
And I'd go as, but I already found this anyway when, yeah, when I was digging through the whole surah, trying to understand Surah Fatiha, understanding the creed of Ibrahim alayhi salam,
Nice.
recognizing that Islam and Muslims aren't what we've been taught. That you just
Yeah,
realize that these religions, these man-made
yeah,
Abraham religions do not exist. The Deen of Allah
right,
exists. Christians
right, right.
exist. Jews do not exist in the Quran, and even the Muslims that we think we understand today, they don't exist.
It's
And this is
different.
actually the cause of all of the problems in the world
Yeah,
today.
yeah. I mean, what would Shaitan do, right? What would, if you were in his position, what would be the best thing to do? Is you would take all of these peoples in the Quran that were destroyed, and you would take their religion and masquerade it as
Yeah.
monotheism, right?
Yes.
A genius.
Yeah.
Of course, you would do that,
It is.
and
It is.
that's why there are so many people
Mm,
that believe in these religions,
mm,
believing in one God, when
mm,
Allah tells us very obviously that it cannot be the majority,
mm,
just cannot be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's yeah, that's a huge
Yeah.
huge
We'll
topic.
have
I
to come
think
back to the whole
people come
Jews
back.
and Christians, Yahud and Nasara. So he says
Yeah.
lenient and helpers, but we'll come back to that, inshallah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So with mutawaffika containing the word tawaffa and the word yatawaffakum clarified as always meaning make you die. So this is the point. Look at these different derivatives. Mutawaffika, yatawaffakum, and tawaffa. It's all die, die. Yeah. They all
Yeah,
die.
there's no argument.
Yeah. As
Yeah.
always meaning make you die. We can comfortably see that Allah said that He was making you die. So as mentioned earlier, only a handful of translators seem to have stayed close to the word's true translations. We've already mentioned them. So we must also make note that this is an account which took place in the past. Yeah, 355. This is an account of what took place in the past. The grammar used confirms that Allah is speaking in past tense. So how do we know that? We go to the verse previous to that. And they schemed, and Allah planned. And Allah is the best of the planners, yeah? They schemed, yeah? The whole thing is in past tense. 355. Right. They plotted and planned. And then we have, what does Allah say? I am completing your life, yeah? Oh, so here's a good translation. I am completing your life and raising you to me and clearing you of those who, who did kufru. So those who blasphemed, yeah? Those who blasphemed, and I will make those who followed you. So it's all past tense, yeah? Past tense. They schemed and planned to take the life of Isa alayhi salam, but Allah had the best plan. Yeah. This is the point I'm making again. They schemed a plan to take the life of Isa alayhi salam, as we just saw in the verse prior to that. Allah honored him, yeah, because Allah had the best plan. Didn't Allah just say, yeah, that He is the best of all planners, yeah? He's the best of all planners. They schemed and they conspired, yeah? So actually makruh. Is makruh what would you choose? Conspire or scheme? conspire. Have I lost you guys? Anyone there?
I don't know. I thought Mekuru
Yeah,
is like a strategy or something, like,
right.
you know, like it's kind of
Yeah.
neutral, I think, but
Right.
it has like it has a weight to it. But
Yeah, but
yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't know much.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a similar idea.
yeah.
Same thing.
Even scheming and conspiring. I know we have negative connotations, but I think it's pretty neutral as well.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
In
true.
its true essence, in its true essence, yeah.
Yeah, if you're in a war, you're
Yeah.
gonna conspire on both sides, you know?
Exactly, yeah. So they schemed to take they schemed the plan to take the life of Isa alayhi salam, but Allah had the best plan. Allah honored him and made a special intervention, making him die and raised him to himself. That's what it seems like to me. This is what the emphasis is. They did not kill him. They had a plan. Allah had the best plan. He honored him. He made him die. He took him. Allah intervened essentially. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not that he's not, died. So the thing is, where is the evidence that this was only a partial sleep-like death? So I've shown all of this evidence. Where is the evidence that this was only a partial sleep-like death? Where is the evidence that the Messiah will be returning before the day of resurrection? So the resurrection of the Messiah. Just a second. Yes, Brother Joel, you had a question.
Yeah, if you were to replace every word, like every example that you put,
Mm-hmm.
if you were to replace the word die
Mm-hmm.
with retire,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm.
would people still get the hint that it means death?
Retire. Does it do
Yeah.
it justice? That's the problem because people are
Or
so
or would the verse still, give the idea that it means actual death? Because if
yeah.
it does, then that means
I know what you mean, and I know what
yeah,
I would mean if I used retired, but I think people would try to manipulate with the word retire, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, he's, like a retired person today, a person who's retired from working. They're not dead. That's what they would
yep.
say. Um,
Retired from their term or cease working.
yeah.
Yeah. I
I,
only
I
I
think
only
you're
ask
right. I
this
think you're right.
because
In a sensible world, we should be able to use the word retire, but
yeah,
unfortunately, people won't let us use the word retire. That's what the problem is. Yeah, you have to be.
yeah,
It's like you have to be so. It's hard with the English language. That's what I found. This is the difference with this Quranic Arabic. It gets straight to the point. Whatever that word is,
yep,
it's getting straight to the point. It's leaving no room for error. It's our inability to be able to capture it or our attempt to try and capture what the word is. Um, yeah, that's why, because I mean, just look at the word heaven. Yeah, people are still struggling with the word heaven. They want it to mean
mm,
space. They want it to mean galaxies. They want it to mean planets. They want it to mean all of these different things, and you have to be really firm and say, no, this means heaven and heavens, to stop people from wandering off, into empty space.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah. The only reason I asked that is because like even if you were to use the word retire, I feel like the verse,
Yeah.
like just the context of the verse, just kind of it just makes it so clear, and
Yeah.
this just shows that there's people, they're bringing in the outside idea
Mm.
to
Yeah.
to replace, death.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
interesting.
So, and he
I
is the
think
one
also
who,
the word retire.
yeah.
It's like, sorry, it's like, isn't that what they believe? Like Isa's coming in his retirement because he's not actually coming as a prophet, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. 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 Uh,
So it's like, because obviously that would be problematic. You know, you have a final prophet,
mm.
he does his duty, and then you have the one
Yeah.
before him comes up.
Yeah. 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 Yep. Okay, so resurrection of the Messiah. So again, going back to that verse, but this portion of that verse, وَجَعِلُ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوكَ فَوْقَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. So this is about the day of resurrection. That's the other thing that people seem to miss. When people say that, oh, he's not died, Allah raised him. This is the thing that, people miss as well, that this is speaking about Yawmul Qiyamah. Yeah. So I will make those who followed you, ittaba'uka, above those who blasphemed unto the day of resurrection. Yeah, Brother Eagle said towards the day of resurrection. Whichever the case is, it's clear, right, that it's about the day of resurrection. And so what do some people say? Yeah, as we know, some people say that this is like, for example, the Russian Christians, that look, Allah's given them the power, the economic and the political and the monetary and all of this stuff, that look, these people who believe in Jesus, Allah is blessing them in the world. It's craziness, it's madness. Whereas, yeah, even Muhammad Sheikh said that we are the ones that follow Isa alayhi salam. And many Muslims will agree that, yes, we are the true followers of Isa alayhi salam, those who follow the Quran. So the resurrection.
Why would he honor people that, believe he was killed and tortured?
Yes.
And that he's come as God in the flesh. And it goes against the very essence of, I was hearing this one thing, I think, from Baba Shuaib's channel. Is this Muslim? He was, I don't know if you saw it. Maybe it was more recent,
yes.
but
I do keep up. Yeah, I do keep up with his work.
He called in to a priest, and he was giving these very obvious questions to show how
they follow a Jew.
Remember that?
That they follow a Jew. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, wait a second. He's praying on earth to himself, or no, to another aspect of himself.
Yeah.
And all kinds of. This is who, like, Allah is going to bless people that identify as this.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something.
They
want to drink his blood.
And
eat his flesh. I don't know.
Yep. So yeah, the resurrection of Isa alayhi salam is prophesied. So this is the point to make again. The resurrection of Isa alayhi salam is prophesied in the Quran, 1933. The day of resurrection will witness those who followed, past tense, being above those who blasphemed. It's right in people's faces. There is a resurrection of Isa alayhi salam. Other narrations are twisting this. In the Quran, there is a resurrection of Isa alayhi salam. So obviously, but that is Yawmul Qiyamah. This is confirmed by Isa alayhi salam giving testimony on Yawmul Qiyamah. So here it is, 4159. So we have that 1933 that we saw. So what was it? So again, just to remind people, so here's 1933, which we just looked at the very beginning. This is, the resurrection of Isa alayhi salam. That I will be raised alive. Raised, is that alive? Is that the right word? Raised alive? Yeah, because people can twist that as well. But anyway, resurrected. Yeah,
it's like the same thing as, like, you like send forth somebody, right? Like
given back to
you're
life.
Sent out of the grave.
Yeah, given back to life. Yeah, just like the plant's growth from the earth. Yeah, because that's what the description is. We're going to come out of the earth.
A lot of people use, like the word revival or something. Like in Syria and Iraq, you have this Ba'ath party. Same word. It's like some kind of like a renaissance or revival, rebirth. It's like
yes,
similar to that.
Yes. So yeah, this is confirmed. So if we look at 1933 and we just looked at 355 when Allah said about Yawmul Qiyamah there, that Allah will make those who followed Isa alayhi salam above those who did kufr, on Yawmul Qiyamah or unto or towards Yawmul Qiyamah. We will, so now if we look at 4159, this is the testimony that Isa alayhi salam is given. So it's all about the resurrection of Isa alayhi salam on Yawmul Qiyamah and what he will say on Yawmul Qiyamah, and there is not, from Ahl al-Kitab. So that one, okay, so we have to have a look at this one. So surely he believes in him before his death. So this is another proof that they say, apparently proof that he is going to come back before the end of time because he has not died yet, right? This is what they say when you look at this verse. And there is not from Ahl al-Kitab, but surely he believes in him before his death. And on Yawmul Qiyamah, he will be, again, we mentioned this in the last recording that we did. So this is confirmed by Isa alayhi salam giving testimony on the day of resurrection regarding the people of Allah's book. So this is the thing. This is the other thing. We just mentioned Jews and Christians aren't in the Quran, yeah? So this has been another twisting as well, who Ahl al-Kitab are, right? Because, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not
one.
even a specific people
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it would have been Al-Ahl Kitab, but it's just
Right, right. Yeah, so
changed.
I've heard Mohammed Sheikh say, family of the book. Um,
Right,
just like how you said as well. I think at one time you said family of the book.
right,
And
yeah.
yeah, we know that the Quran is the book, or at least one portion of whatever it is that Allah has there collected, from previous revelations of what the book consists of. I don't know the exact details of what this is, but we know that so wait. So regarding the the people of Allah's book who had secure faith with him. That's the other thing. Who would you say has Iman? Yeah, well, we know the description of Christians today. That's not Iman. Yeah. This is it. What is it? Is there Iman here? Yeah. لَيُؤْمِنَنَّ. We know what Iman is, yeah, in this Quran. It's belief in Allah, his angels, his messengers, what is it? Yeah, his books and the last day. Um, yeah, we know what Iman is defined in this Quran. So what are you saying that these people who believe in these other things, that is like kufr and shirk, that's Iman? Um, so yeah, this is confirmed by Isa alayhi salam giving testimony on the Yawm al-Qiyamah regarding the people of Allah's book who had Iman with him. That's another thing you mentioned, isn't it, brother Igor? Iman bihi. Yeah.
Yeah, or by him, like he's kind of like um, a factor in people's faith
Right.
because
It makes a
he's
big
like a
difference. We
big
don't
difference.
believe, yeah, we don't believe in these people. Yeah. We don't, yeah. This is
No,
another
no,
trick, isn't it? Yeah, it's another trick.
it's like I don't know. I think there's some ayah it says like Lot was a believer in Ibrahim,
Mm,
but it's kind of like or like Ibrahim was a Shia of Nuh, something
mm,
like that.
mm.
It's like the believers are one family.
Yeah.
That's pretty clear.
Mm,
Um, I don't know. I'm thinking, like if Isa is his story is like Adam,
mm,
Isa is like Adam, then you have to take that very you'd have to take that to heart. Like his entire story about how people tried to kill him, but he didn't kill him, and he
mm.
mentions him specifically, singles him out as being resurrected and
Right.
on the day of judgment, and it just describes perfectly what is the fate for humanity because we're all
Mm,
from Beni Adam.
right.
Adam was in the garden and he came here. And
Mm,
then it seems like Isa is the mirror of that. He's in here and he's going to the garden. It's
mm,
like you have this symmetry between the two. He
mm,
was born without a father. Isa was born without a father.
mm.
In every way, I think there's something to that. I don't know the full
Yeah,
extent of it, but
you're right. You're right. Yeah, if Allah says that, yeah, and it's brief, yeah, there's definitely more to it.
yeah,
Um,
before his death, I've heard some people say that means that like you're not from the
mm,
scripture
mm, mm,
if you believe him as Lord, because
mm,
it goes against that.
mm,
Um, it's kind of interesting verse to really look into, but
right.
I think that one makes a lot of sense because it says he will be upon them a testifier, right?
Yes. Right.
It's like you're in a courtroom and he's a like a witness, and then
Right.
he's saying, yeah, these people they did all this,
Is
and they were one of the
testify and witness interchangeable? I mean, to do shuhada, to um, yeah,
I think yeah, that's kind of like the idea behind it. Like you have shahid and you have shahid.
yeah,
Um, and it's interesting because yeah, that's what a witness does in a courtroom is they give testimony.
right, right.
But one thing that's interesting is the people that disbelieved in
Mm,
Isa,
mm,
at least when he was alive,
mm,
they're punished more than anyone else in the world.
right.
And this is so interesting because he came with such obvious signs,
Mm.
like the things that he cured the blind, he brought
Yes,
food from
yes,
the
yes,
sky.
yes, yes.
I mean, the people that disbelieved in him after that, Allah
Mm,
says he'll punish them like no one else in the world.
mm, mm.
So it's almost like that verse is. That's why you can't take the Quran in isolation. It's one, complex matrix of
Yeah.
interlocking.
Well, on
things,
that
right?
note, is this not the testification? So as we have here, and
Yeah,
there, you can't take it in isolation, and there is none from the book's people or the family of the book, but that they will
yeah,
believe with him, or is that believe with it or believe with the book? I don't know, but they will surely believe with it,
yeah.
death, or with
It,
him.
it probably refers to Isa. I mean, just plain
Yeah,
reading, but
right.
you can see his testimony in the Quran. That's the amazing thing. It's
Yeah,
not left open-ended.
and
You
here
can
it
see
is.
what he says.
Here it is. He will say, Allah will ask, O Isa, Ibn Maryam, did you say to the people, take me and my mother as deities besides Allah? He will say, exalted are you. It was not for me to say that to which I have no right. If I had said it, you would have known it. You know what is within myself, and I do not know what is within yourself. Indeed, it is you who is know of the unseen. Is that al-ghayb? Al-ghuyub. Yeah. Allamul ghuyub, yeah. So you are the know of the unseen. So this is the testification. Yeah, it's all about Yawmul Qiyamah, and it's all about what is going to be testified on that day. Who is going to be judged above who? So yeah, so we've gone from every night we die a little, and we're on resurrection of the Messiah. This is the point I'm making here on this one. It's a short one, but there is a resurrection in the Quran of Isa alayhi salam, and that is when he
Exactly.
tests, and that is when he
With
tests.
everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for their blasphemy and their saying against Maryam a great slander. Here is, more of that. And they're saying, indeed, we have killed, Isa ibn Maryam, the messenger of Allah. And yeah, so again, we've gone through all of this. They
I
blaspheme.
wonder about
Yep.
the slander part. It's like they have an idea of who that is,
Mhm.
but I don't think it singles it out as one type. I think it's many different types.
Many
Because
different types of slander, or
well, it's kind of like I can't see where
4156. I'll bring it up.
yeah, it's like yuhdana. I'm unfamiliar with that word, but if that is a slander, which would make sense, you can look at it as the what Jews will say in the Talmud about her. I don't even want to utter that.
Yeah.
And then you could say the same argument against Christians as well, because they believe she gave birth to God.
Yeah.
This is actually her name.
Absolutely, I
in
know.
Christianity.
It's just absolutely
crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they blasphemed against Allah and slandered Maryam alayhi salam monstrously. They claim to have killed via the worst method, crucifixion. But they certainly did not kill him, as Allah had the best plan, making him die and raising him up to himself. This death, mutawafika, dying and raising, is Allah clearly paying a special and honorable attention towards someone. Allah then says that despite the plotting and planning from the blasphemers, the people loyal to the Book of Allah will believe with Isa alayhi salam before his death, Motihi, Motihi. So we're going back to that again, yeah? We now confirm that Allah did make him die, but people say, oh, where's the evidence in the Quran? Motihi, yeah, that he died. Allah does mention his death, but I can't give you more than that. But Allah does mention his death. This is it, yeah? Before his death, yeah? How that is said, but still the point is Allah mentions. So Allah has mentioned him dying, and he's mentioned his death, and he's mentioned his resurrection. Is that clear? People will say, no, I need to say that, he died, that he actually died. So what Allah says is that, they will have to believe with Isa
Right.
before his death. This is a powerful contrast between the blaspheming evil people and the loyal good people. That's what that is. We will next see him back on the day of resurrection to provide a testimony to the truth. And here are all of the verses. So again, where is the evidence that this was only a partial sleep-like death? Where is the evidence that the Messiah will be returning before the day of resurrection? So these passages are the two of the most important, 355 and 4157, regarding the dying and death. It's in there. These two most controversial verses or passages right? The people used to manipulate, it's in there. The dying and the death of Isa alayhi salam is in there. For the unindoctrinated mind, where would one get the idea, implicitly or explicitly, that there is going to be a return before the day of resurrection?
Right.
It most certainly cannot be found in the Quran. No matter what they try to do, it cannot be found in the Quran. So yeah, I've got this present day people of the book. Yeah, I won't focus too much. So I'll leave this for the book. Yeah, so people, okay, so what is it they say? Yeah, so as I've mentioned already, la nufarriqu bayna ahadim. Yeah, that's not a distinction. We make no division, no parting, no grouping between any of them. So yeah, this is the point. So we are therefore the people who are following all of the messengers, yeah, of Allah. All of the messengers that came after Ibrahim alayhi salam followed the monotheistic creed of Ibrahim alayhi salam, including Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's the verse there, a reference for him following Ibrahim alayhi salam. And as it says here, only a safiha, yeah, a fool, only a fool. And as Muhammad Sheikh says as well, you know what a fool is? An idiot, stupid. Yeah, stupid, idiot. Yeah, only an ignorant, safiha, foolish person would turn away from following the creed of Ibrahim. So yeah, who is it that these people are? That Allah says, I will make those who followed you. So if people want to say that, oh, today the Christians are the ones following, no, we are the ones who are following him. Yeah.
Why would they follow him? Why would Allah send another messenger
Right.
After Isa?
Yeah.
If that was the case.
Yeah. So therefore, we are amongst those who indirectly follow ittaba'uka. Yeah, we indirectly follow Isa alayhi salam. He followed the book of Allah. Yeah, we follow the book of Allah. He followed the book of Allah. He followed the creed of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So those from Ahl al-Kitab, the people of the book who securely believed with him, followed yeah, the book of Allah. Again, I'm not going to delve too much into this here right now. So yeah, we are those people anyway. So this is in the book. I'm gonna kind of skip through this.
If you want more proof that Allah is talking about Isa's rank in Jannah, he's one of the only people that is singled out as part of Al-Muqarrabin, which refers to the ones brought the nearest.
Yes, yes, yes. I remember you saying that. Yep, I remember you saying that.
And it's like, okay, that's mentioned people in paradise as well, who are with Allah. So it's kind of like, yeah, he is raised to a huge rank, probably the highest you can go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a physical place. It's like, yeah, it probably has some physical aspect to it, but it's like that the reward of it is what's being highlighted.
So yeah, I know people will say to me that they'll give other verses trying to point out that Ahl al-Kitab are Christians. So I have looked at other verses, but again, I won't go into that here. I mean, like for example, you could argue, one could still argue that we are like the securely believing portion from Ahl al-Kitab, because this is what we have in the Quran, right? Allah says amongst Ahl al-Kitab are good ones, you know, that would return a ton of wealth entrusted to him. You know, we are obviously not the ones who refuse to return a dinar entrusted upon us. So what you're saying, we're not Ahl al-Kitab then? You know, Allah clearly illustrates many times that there are two groups from the people of the book, good and bad. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's that's the whole concept of hypocrites, right? The people that appear to be Muslims, and really they're not. They're actually the worst people in Allah's sight.
And in case people forget, we are clearly not the ones saying the greatest lies against Allah, such as the Trinity and the Son of God lies. Yeah, we are not the blaspheming ones, turning back and covering the truth and hiding much of the book. Many parallels can be drawn with our current condition. Again, I'll leave this for the book. Trying to stick to the whole Isa alayhi salam returning, the people of the book. Okay.
See right there where it says before Surah Al-Bayyinah, the people of the book. It doesn't have any the behind it, because I don't think that this is one people really in actuality. It seems like
family.
it changes.
I'm going to change this. It's family of the book.
I just want to highlight, like, just so people can see like how easy it is to kind of
Mm.
fall into this trap where
Yeah.
you know, say, oh, see, this is the people of the book, Jews and Christians.
It's
There's
definitely
no even
yeah.
huh?
No, sorry, carry on, yeah.
There's no even hint in that regard, because if that was the case, Allah would say, He would isolate them from
Mm.
everyone else. He would
Mm.
say al Ahl al-Kitab, like
Mm.
al-Muslimin,
Yeah.
al-Yahud,
Yeah.
al-Nasara,
Yeah.
right? Al-Kafirun. But He doesn't do that because it
Yes.
seems like this is not necessarily fixed. You know
Yes.
what I mean? It's like
Yeah. Generic.
if you want to say that it's not Muslims
Mm.
or people that have the Quran,
Mm.
then you have to find where is the kitab elsewhere. Is there
Yeah.
any other scripture that's preserved that's
Mm.
from Allah? 100%. I don't
Mm.
think so.
Yeah. But the main point, I've got it here as well. So I have debated this in my mind as well. This is why it takes ages to write this, because I have to fight it in my mind, as you know as well. You have to
Oh yeah,
you
for
have to
sure.
you have to be the other side as well. So
Mhm.
the main point for this chapter regarding the supposed return of the Messiah is that we are not the specific group of people that Allah is addressing, i.e. Bani Israel, with regards to having Iman with Isa alayhi salam before his death. Of course, we're not that specific group, all right? But this is speaking in past tense about family of the book,
Right. Exactly.
at his time. This
Yeah.
cannot be referring to other narrations outside of the Quran regarding the eschatological signs of the end of time. Yeah.
Mhm.
As mentioned earlier, the resurrection of Isa alayhi salam is, however, prophesied in the Quran. So, okay, I think yes, that should be settled on this. That he will be a testifier. Okay, so next we'll go to the mistranslated and misinterpreted. Okay, so this is what it's all been about. This is the big
Yeah, that's the one.
this is the big one now. This is the big one. Right. So, um, yeah, amazing, honestly. I mean, 6 months ago, even I couldn't see it. I was blinded by it. 6 months ago, I couldn't see it.
It's
Uh,
very
yeah.
Allah is very precise, so it's like,
Yeah.
you know, we're obviously not like that. We just you know, I think it's a good idea to be like, but you can, you know, easily be paranoid. Yeah.
Uh,
It's like
but
the
yeah,
pronoun.
I mean, I have to thank that brother Muhammad from God. I mean, it was his recording that really brought it home to me. I mean, I heard it from Brother
Mm,
Nagito as well, but it was something about what he said on this issue. So Brother Nagito's done fantastic on all of his work, but it's something that Brother Muhammad
yeah.
said on, yeah, the way he used Shoaib Abdullahi's Quran, and I don't know, the way he picked out some of these things.
Yeah.
It just really just brought it home for me that yes, this verse,
The,
there's no doubt about it that this is
the,
referring to
the,
Quran. Yeah.
the first time I heard of this idea, it was from a Quranic Islam channel.
Okay.
And that brother really, I mean, I was like taken aback, you know,
Yeah.
like, really? It's that simple?
Yeah.
It's like,
That's
it doesn't even come after, you know?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I
So
think I had mentioned one time, I can't remember what discussion, maybe it was one of the first ones we had,
mm,
where it was like, yeah, it's like innahu versus
that's right.
inhuwa.
When we first started speaking, we were still thinking about this. We were still,
Yeah.
I was mentioning it, and you were like, yeah, not sure about this. And I was like, yeah, not sure about this.
Yeah.
I do remember that, yeah. So, but this is what is even more interesting. Then I think I realized it's not even of the hour. It's not even that the Quran is the knowledge of the hour. It's that the Quran is the knowledge for the hour. I might be wrong,
Exactly.
but that's
No,
what I
that's
think I
pretty
figured out.
accurate. Yeah.
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 So, because obviously only Allah has the knowledge, and the complete knowledge, but what this Quran is ultimately, that's what Allah's saying. And that and wa innahu, surely is a knowledge for the hour. So
Right.
do not be in doubt about the hour, as-sa'a, because this is what we have in the Quran, that people are, these these kafirs, these deniers, these kadhibs, these
Mm.
people against Allah, rejecting Allah. They say, oh,
Mhm.
we don't believe in Yawmul Qiyamah. We don't believe the hour's coming.
Right.
We think it's
Yeah.
speculation. We think it's assumptions. So what is it that believers are supposed to do? This is what Allah's saying. And the Quran, surely is a knowledge for the hour. So do not be in doubt about it and follow me. this is the Sirat al-Mustaqim. What is Sirat al-Mustaqim? Not following Isa alayhi salam. That's not Sirat al-Mustaqim. It's
Of course not.
following the Quran and not having doubt about the hour. Yeah, that's what Sirat
He's
al-Mustaqim.
following it himself.
Yeah. And yeah, so innahu. So what is the innahu referring to? Many say that this verse is referring to Isa alayhi salam, whom is spoken of. So yeah, you could argue as well, because you know, they're not wrong about how Isa alayhi salam is
Sure.
spoken of in those verses surrounding it. That's true.
Right.
Where is it? 57. Yeah, so that's true. He is spoken, but how come they decide to not say that it's the angels? Because the angels are also spoken of as well. Where is it? No, sorry, I got the wrong one. 43. What a surah this is, man. This is you know, even this beginning. Clear book. Hamim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hamim. Clear book. What is the clear book? Arabic Quran. Yeah. And the Arabic Quran, what is it? It's the dhikr, a dhikr. You know, when people always use that verse, go to the people of knowledge if you don't know. This is what they say, isn't it? Go to the people of knowledge if you don't know. Yeah, no. It's go to the people of the reminder. And what is
Exactly.
the reminder? What is the reminder? The reminder is the Quran, was it? The Arabic Quran, the clear book.
Right.
So you're right. If I don't know, I should go to those of the Quran.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, anyways, but what we have here is here. This is how the surah starts off. So, وَإِنَّهُ. Yeah. What is Allah speaking about? Allah speaking about the clear book, the Quranic, the Arabic Quran. And then he
There you
says,
go.
it. So this is it. This is how the surah begins. When people say, oh, innahu is referring to Isa alayhi salam. So here it is for people. This is
No.
yeah. So this is the
Usually masculine pronouns like Allah is masculine, so he would say huwa, right?
Yeah. Right.
Allah is not treated as innahu in that regard.
Yeah.
So
and here it is again. وَإِنَّهُ. Yeah. So it's all about the Quran. Yeah, many things are mentioned. Look, here's the angels mentioned in between Isa alayhi salam. So where's Isa?
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the real.
Yeah. So if you really wanted to do that, then you should say that it's the angels. So the angels are the sign of the hour, you know, because Allah mentioned the angels last, you know.
Yeah, it's an event, right? It's an event that happens, and it's like you're describing the event itself, not a person.
Yeah. So so Allah speaks of, you know, Isa alayhi salam in these three verses, 57, 58, 59. Yeah, 57, 58, 59. But then there's the angels, yeah. But then the thing is, how can you say, oh, it's not referring to the angels and it's referring to Isa alayhi salam? You have to look at the whole surah. When you do look at the whole surah, you realize this is the Quran. Right. So one problem with and you mentioned Huwa, yeah. So Isa alayhi salam is actually that's the other thing. He's referred to as Huwa, yeah. Where is it?
Exactly.
So that's the other thing. It's not just that the Quran is used as innahu, but Isa alayhi salam is used as huwa. Yeah.
Yeah. It says right in the next one, in huwa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
and yeah, in the next one as well. Yes, that's right. In huwa. Yeah. In huwa. So here's your the pronoun used for Isa alayhi salam. So that's yet another proof that Isa alayhi salam is not the sign of the hour. And yeah, so then I've got this in the book as well. So here it is. That it, yeah, وَإِنَّهُ, and the it. What is the it? It's the Quran. Yeah, it's very simple.
basically, if you unravel this piece by piece over time, you would have to radically change at least, you know, the mainstream narrative of Sunni Islam. I mean, in that sense where it says, in huwa illa abdihi an'amta. Basically, he was nothing but a servant, and we favored upon him. وَجَعَلْنَهُ مِثَالًا, right? So it's like he was example for who? Just Bani Israel.
Yep.
I thought Sunni Islam sees Bani Israel as a tribe of Jews. So it's like, how on earth is he going to come back as a sign for the hour? It says here he's an example for the children of Israel.
Yeah. it's really worth listening to Muhammad Sheikh on this as well, on this topic of
Yeah.
I do wonder how awake this man might actually be, right? But he just doesn't speak because, and if he's
Mhm.
not, it's incredible what a person can uncover just by being
Mhm.
dedicated to the Quran, just by being dedicated
That's it.
to the Quran and letting it teach you rather than you imposing on it what you think it should mean. Because what he's come up with, it's becoming more and more relevant. Some of his yeah, his things on
It's
Israel, yeah. The
absolutely,
Jews,
yeah.
the Jews, the Jews and the Christians not being in the Quran, it's amazing.
It goes even deeper than that because what you're talking about, the major theme is that somebody has taken the liberty to translate the Quran into English
Mm,
in a way that's very clearly not a mistake,
mm, mm.
right?
Yeah,
They did it a certain way.
yeah.
Who did this? Well, the only effect is it only benefits people who want to take people out of believing in God.
Mhm.
Why?
Mm,
Because what you're going to find is if you give someone a translation of the Quran,
mm,
any standard one, they'll look at it and they'll say, well, it's just chopping off heads and it's killing people for having a different belief.
mm,
Why? When you go read that in the Arabic,
mm,
it's not talking about that at all.
mm,
It's not talking about a lot of things that a lot of people in Islam, the traditional Islam today, they
mm,
take for granted. They just assume, yeah, well, it's in there.
mm.
But look at the Arabic itself.
Yeah.
There's no ambiguity in those words.
Mm,
So you uncover that,
mm,
and then you realize, oh my God, they're just creating this facade, this kind
mm,
of caricature of what
mm.
the Quran is saying.
Yeah.
Well, is that not going to drive people away? Of
Mm,
course.
mm,
Of course it will.
mm,
How are you going to explain to somebody, A, hey, this is not translated well, and B, most Muslims are not following it like it says in Arabic?
mm.
How are you going to explain that?
Yeah.
It's a very masterful plan, and I see it every day. It's like people have these assumptions about the Quranic verses,
Mm,
but obviously they don't understand the Arabic or they haven't looked at the whole book in completion,
mm,
and they don't realize or they don't care
mm,
really at the end of the day.
mm,
And it's just like those people that deny the resurrection at the end. Why?
mm,
Well, this is adding more fuel to the fire for people
mm.
to deny that resurrection.
Yeah.
It's just
Mm,
insane, really.
absolutely. Well, I just wanted to say, for those who did think that those verses about 1643, who thought it was go to the people of knowledge. So you just heard me mention about going to the people of knowledge. And I don't blame these people. I'm not mocking anyone because this is what we've memorized from our own scholars. When we've
Right.
heard them speak these verses, they don't say them for what they are. They say them for what they have been taught that they are. And so we repeat them and we say, go to the people of knowledge. Let me just see. Did anyone actually translate as knowledge? Go to the people of knowledge. Yeah, here we go. Then ask those who have knowledge. See, there you go. Mustafa Khattab. That's not good, man.
Yeah.
That's not then ask those who have knowledge. Yeah. Of course, this is going to stop people from, seeking knowledge for themselves. They're going to be like, no, no, you
Yeah.
have to go to those. You have to go to people of knowledge. You have to go to the
Yeah.
ulama. You have to go to the alims. You know, uh, ask the people of knowledge. Here you go. Look, ask the people of knowledge. See, and it's got nothing to do with that. Ask. Okay, here's the good one. Question the people of remembrance. Yeah, the remembrance.
Have
Um,
we defined what that is? What is the remembrance? If you ask these people of knowledge.
yeah, I think the remembrance, as I just pointed out here, I think the remembrance is the Quran because it's got it here.
Right. So
Surah Zukhruf, yeah. Allah
you'd
says,
expect these
yeah,
scholars to be people of the Quran, but
yes,
clearly,
exactly. Yeah. So here it is again for those who might have missed it when I said it. Clear book, Kitabun Mubin, and this is which Allah says, wa innahu, the
Mhm.
it and the mother of the book with us, Ummul Kitab. So it's all about the Arabic Quran and Arabian. There is Kitabun Mubin or Al-Kitab al-Mubin, the clear book. So then Allah immediately says, after describing the Quran in three different ways. So he describes it as the clear book, as the Arabic Quran, and then he speaks about, I think, a portion of it or an aspect of it, the mother of the book. And then Allah goes to say, shall we take from you the remembrance? But again, if you don't want to take that, there's other verses that clearly point out what the remembrance is. I've got it in the
Yeah,
latest
yeah.
upload as well. The remembrance is the Quran. Just like, I mean, maybe you can give me from your memory, what are the different names of the Quran that we have?
Oh yeah, I mean it's like, well, like you have scholars today will tell you, yes, the remembrance, the dhikr is the Quran.
Yep.
It just doesn't follow, when it's you have Al-Furqan, you have Quran al-Azim, Quran al-Hakim, Quran al-Majid. I think it's described as a Nur as well. It's described as a Huda.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, there's something about this book that's very special. There's really no comparison to be made, and I think it's made to be that way because Allah is not like anything else. It's like
For
directly from Him.
thinkers, for ponderers, for reflectors.
Right. Who's humble enough to admit, I don't know. I want to increase in knowledge. The Prophet actually in the Quran makes dua to increase in knowledge of all things. And I think that's certainly lacking in the Islamic part of the world when it comes to the very religion.
Yeah, well, the Salafis do know this. I mean, when I was in my last Ramadan Taraweeh, I remember clearly after one portion of the prayers, this being made an emphasis that this was the thing in the Quran that we're supposed to seek for. This is the ultimate treasure. This is the
Of
ultimate,
course.
the knowledge. Yeah, seeking this knowledge.
Of course, there's nothing like it. It's subhanAllah, it's always been that way.
And even those who don't believe in Islam or the Quran, they know that, yeah, this is the ultimate treasure in the world. Wisdom, whatever that is. People are, like people ask, what is the soul? Trying to understand the soul, trying to understand the afterlife. What is wisdom? Even those who don't believe in the Quran and Islam, or whatever you want to call it, they know that these aspects are the true treasures of, this world, at least, anyway. So
and it's definitely a book of science as well, because I've heard many callers or inviters to Islam that they'll use, it's not a book of science, obviously. It's just kind of a book of guidance. Well,
I know what you
if
mean.
you really,
I know.
you know what I mean, right? It's like, but strangely, they'll kind of attract people to Islam using these kind of scientific miracles, quote unquote.
When you
So
say
it's kind of
science, you mean something that you can prove and test and verify for yourself. And
exactly. So it's like, imagine you want to understand what the world is that you're born into, and you have this book, and it gives you details about the universe and what's beyond it, that you could never possibly figure out on your own. Even through trial and error, you'd still have the wrong idea. I think they found a lot of things in science that were already talked about in the Quran, but they've done it through trial and error over a long time. So if you just start with the end point, you don't have to waste any time in your life. It just tells you right there, this is how the mountains are, this is how the trees are, this is how the sun is. And then from that starting point, then you can derive so much information, so much. It's like the advanced knowledge is just given to us, really. It just, do people really are people really grateful for that though? Are people really thinking? Because fikr, thinking, is like just a mutation of kufr, and then shikr is a mutation of shirk, right? Thinking. So it makes a lot of sense when you see it that way.
It does. I can't remember exactly again how Muhammad Sheikh put it, but this is the wise book. When people say where is the wisdom, this is the wise book. Because everyone has been trained, isn't it? There's wisdom in the hadith, right? So then automatically there's no wisdom in the Quran, astaghfirullah,
Astaghfirullah,
this is the wise book. People forget this is the wise book. So this is the one to save you from figuring everything out in the world,
right.
I don't know where you stand on this. I don't think it's a book of details. I think it's a book of explanation, because I do see details as being something, I don't know if I can say this, but I do see details as being something bordering on Satan's side, maybe, like
Right.
um
Yeah. You have a fair analysis there, because
yeah.
what I'm seeing is,
Mm.
if you take this Quran as your compass
Mhm.
through all information in the world, like you go on Wikipedia and you look at some article, I don't know, on Jerusalem or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
all the details
Mm.
are clearly wrong.
Yeah.
But the central idea,
Mm.
there's something to it.
Yeah.
There's something in the Quran that points to something that
Right.
they got inspired with to make these ideas that we know today as, Jerusalem or Salah or whatever.
Yeah.
And that is what I think really makes sense there, because the details are the things that throw people off.
Yeah.
They'll talk
And
about how,
but all of these details can be verified with the simple truths in the Quran, with the simple.
right.
That's what
Yeah,
it's
that's the thing.
that's what it's
It's a
there for.
criterion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, you don't have to throw out the baby with the bathwater. You can take out
Yeah.
the crux, the kernel of the idea,
Yeah.
and then you kind of put them into an array and
Mm.
see, wait a second, how are all the people's cultures and histories and mythologies, they're all pointing to something that the Quran has told a very simple way for everybody, because it's sent to mankind, right? So
Yeah.
you'd expect mankind would have a huge connection to these stories,
Yeah.
and they do. It's
Yeah.
just we've been taught, oh, people in Europe, they were pagans, and people in the Middle East are all pagans, and nobody knew anything. There was never any. The prophets are legendary.
Mm.
It's actually the opposite. It
Mm.
actually seems like the legends
Yeah.
have more basis to them
Mm.
than what they have told us as today's legends.
Mm.
About, well, I just saw a video the other day. A huge sea monster found in England a day ago, and it
Mm.
looks just like a giant, like a legendary creature. It's just a huge skull.
Mm.
Oh, well, we think this lived 700 million years ago. And
Mm.
what are they? You know what I mean? It's like, we know that there are these hoot creatures in the Quran,
Yes.
and you can say it's a fish or something, sure. But
Right.
if you look in the Bible, it gives you a little bit more detail,
Right.
because it seems the authors of the Bible try to preserve some kind of understandings.
Right.
But it's just amazing. Like, you're gonna go through life, like, either blind, you just don't want to accept that
Mm.
this is the ultimate guidance for anything, for parenting, for
Mm.
psychology,
Mm.
for success in life,
Mm.
for finance, for
Right.
so many things, for
Yeah.
understanding language.
Yeah.
It just never ends, and
Yeah.
it's like,
This is the
you could
challenge.
either have
This is the challenge of life. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, you look back
yeah,
at even before the internet, these Britannica, the encyclopedias that used to be in every household,
right,
all of this
yeah,
information. Yeah. It's clear that, yeah, this was the challenge. Who's feeding all of these details? And yeah, what do you do about that?
yeah. Can you really argue with a book
Mm.
that, um, instead of having a stack of encyclopedias from A to Z on your bookshelf,
Yeah.
or a stack of narrations of the prophet, or a stack of, letters from Paul,
Mm.
why don't you just have one book?
Mm. Yeah.
And it's also a dictionary, and it's also in the original language of
Ah,
mankind, and
subhanallah.
it's also numerically accurate. So all of the mentions of each word
Yeah.
are a whole analysis to themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For this to be from other than God would be something, just, the odds are like infinity to one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, okay,
Yeah.
so just for today, and again, just reminding people. So yeah, this was a cosmology book, purely, but it's now turned into half chronology, half cosmology. So we went from the furnished earth, the cradle, and now we've just been speaking. So we did speak one time about Isa alayhi salam, the crucifixion or the apparent crucifixion, and now we're discussing the rest of what I have in this book, which is about basically disproving these 5 proofs that Isa alayhi salam is returning. So now we've just got a little bit left of that, which is, so we've just been talking about it is knowledge for the hour instead of Isa alayhi salam being a sign of the hour. And the final one I want to discuss for today is this whole Kahlan. So I've called it here a blessed and miraculous life. So I just want us to finish off with that today because I'm hoping for tomorrow to do the same, inshallah, But so today was about Isa alayhi salam, and tomorrow I want to, if possible, do about the hour, discuss about the hour, because that's what it is. Now we discussed Isa alayhi salam as not being a sign of the hour. So how did this happen? And really and truly, we have no idea about the hour. I'm pretty certain of that. I don't think anyone has discussed the hour the way that, yeah, basically I've ended up studying it because I'm just shocked, but I'll leave that for tomorrow. Um, so let's get back to where we were. Um, okay, so yep, Isa alayhi salam is not a sign of the hour, and okay, all right. So why did that bring up this? Yeah, so it's through the people of the remembrance that we can be reminded of what Allah has truly said in the Quran. He did not say that Jesus will be a sign of the hour. Many things are mentioned in between the first 5 verses of the chapter and the verse regarding the knowledge of the hour. The angels are also spoken of in the verse prior to this. Which narration is making us superimpose this interpretation that Isa alayhi salam is returning? Where is this narrative originally coming from? From ancient times. It is coming from those who imitate kufr sayings of those before them. Yeah, people will be familiar with these verses. Yeah, 939. Those who imitate kufr sayings of those before them. This is an ancient narrative. Um, Human existence of life on this earth as we know it is ending. The Quran being sent on the night of destiny. You got my attention on that one as well. When I listened to that one. Um, the Quran being sent on the night of destiny, Laylatul Qadr, to the seal of the Nabi, Khatam al-Nabi, is the biggest sign in and of itself, yeah, that we are approaching the end. Not the end of messengers, because we know the angels are also messengers, but it is most certainly the end of Allah sending any more Nabi, newsbringers. So what do we have here? And among them, O Muhammad, are some who listen to you until when they depart from you, they say to those who are given knowledge, what has he just said right now? Those are the ones Allah has set a seal upon their hearts and they follow their desires.
Desires, keyword there.
Yep. Ahwa'ahum, yeah.
Yeah.
And those who accepted guidance, he increased them in guidance and gave them their awareness of him. Yeah, taqwa. I believe taqwa is awareness. I've been struggling with this taqwa. I think taqwa is awareness because ghafil or ghafla is the opposite, in my opinion. It's what is it? Yeah, completely just was it
like consciousness,
yeah,
increasing in consciousness of God and
yes, awareness. But I don't think it's can you say that it's always awareness of God? Because I think it seems to be an attribute. Those who are generally aware, they have the possibility of becoming aware of Allah. There's a certain trait. Um, you know, um, so Allah gave them their awareness. But this is the important verse that people struggle with. This is a hard verse, yeah, to really decipher and look at carefully. And I think I've got it. I've been looking at it. So do they look except that the hour should come upon them suddenly? So now I don't want to mention his name because we did used to follow him and we've got respect for him. But this is about ideas, yeah. Let's keep this to ideas and not names. So do they look at? So this is, I think, what it's built upon. Yeah, this is what eschatology is built upon. Why do I say ashrat? Yeah, if you look at the book of Hadith, it's about ashratus sa'a. Yeah, these are the two words, ashratus sa'a. And so do they look except that the hour should come upon them suddenly? This is what they miss. Baghtha. If they did their homework, they will find that Allah says everywhere else in the Quran several times that the hour is going to come upon everyone suddenly. No exception. It's going to come upon everyone suddenly. So this is what Allah seems to be saying. Do they look except that the hour should come upon them suddenly? Because these are the people who reject that the hour is coming. They think that they don't have judgment day coming. But indeed, it's ashrat, yeah? Indeed, it's indications, not signs, yeah? People want to hold on to signs. Fine. Yeah, okay. You can argue that there's a similarity between indication and sign. But when you say sign, then that's kind of affirming signs of the hour, what we've learned as signs of the hour. Indeed, its indications have come. So how for them, this is the literal, so how for them when their reminder came to them? Yeah, dhikrahum. So people who try to use this as argument that there are signs and for us to prepare so it doesn't come upon us suddenly. But we'll go into that tomorrow, inshallah. But for now, the hour is the hour of resurrection. This is being addressed to those who do not believe in the day of accounting, the day of resurrection. They falsely preach a God resurrected from the earth. I was surprised to find this one.
Very interesting word, this sharatuha, I think.
Short, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. There's another similar. I thought that I found the word, but actually it's got a ta and not a twa. It's where Maryam alayhi salam points to Isa alayhi salam. So that's
right. Yeah.
That's another indication, but it's not got the twa, so it's not the same.
Right.
It's what is hers? Hers is an indication as well. I'm not sure. I need to. Maybe you can have a look at that. I'm not sure, but
it's kind of like that word indications. I think that's pretty lousy when it comes to describing that word, because just looking at the root of what it's more like conditions.
Okay. Yes.
Contracts.
I think you're right.
Agreements.
That's right. No, you're right. Because when we use that word in other similar languages, you're right. This is the short. This is the condition. That's right.
We even use the word for police. It's short.
Right? Okay. Yes. This is in my language as well. Short is a condition. You're right. But indeed, it's come. You're right.
Even the infinitive form of that verb.
Right.
It's actually very literal. It's like incisions. Like for instance, like you tear something up, or you scratch it, or make an incision, or rip it open, or cut it open.
Can you by any chance remember the reference for Maryam alayhi salam pointing to Isa alayhi salam?
Let me find it actually. I think it's. I was looking at that earlier because I'm trying to figure out what this Mahdi is.
Yes. No, I know it's in Surah Maryam. Because now that you've brought it up, because that one definitely is indications when she points to him and they say, how can one from the cradle?
It's ayah 29 of Surah Maryam.
That's it. Yep. Yep. She points. This is it. Ashrat. Can you see how similar it is?
Yeah, so Ashrat.
This is with the ta, and this one is Ashrat. This is with the ta. So
yeah, Ashrat.
I think this one is the indication, and you're right. This one is the condition.
It's interesting because that indication, I think what let me just, I can open up.
Yes. Well, hold on. So it says.
I was looking at this Mahdi idea, and it seems like she's like signaling him or something, like using like her to signal to Jesus in the cradle, or I don't know where it is here.
Look what comes up when I do Google translation. Her stripes. Well, her is.
Oh wow!
Because it's the hour. The hour is feminine, so it's talking about the hour's stripes. If you look at it that way, then it's talking about Ashrat.
I think signaled seems to make a lot of sense, but obviously that has to be kind of made concrete. But just as kind of preliminary idea is like he will yukallimu to mankind in the cradle and middle age, I guess, kahlan. It says then she signaled toward him. They said, how will we communicate whoever was in the cradle, a boy? You get this idea that kallimu. I don't know if that actually, I know it's used for speech, but it's like kalam, kalimat, or words. So there's something communication involved.
Which verse?
I don't know if it this would be the same one. I think it's ayah 29, right, of Surah 19.
Nukallimu. Oh, nukallimu, yeah. Kalam is a word, right? Kalam.
Yeah. Kalam is like you have a conversation. Kalimat are like words. Kalima is a word. So it's like there's like some kind of communication, but it's different than qawlun. Qawlun is like speech, or qul, to
You're right.
speak.
You're right.
So I don't know if we can, like here it says qalu. How can we speak?
Are you
right?
saying that because you're trying to understand the whole Kahlan business?
Well, yeah, because it says he's
Hmm.
like communicate to mankind, الناس
Yeah,
في
yeah,
المهدي
yeah,
and kahlan.
yeah.
So I don't know. I've seen
I'm about
different
to approach
ideas.
that. Hold that thought. I'm about to
Sure,
approach.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do want that because I've tried to just keep on to the safe zone with that.
Yeah.
Come to that. Hold on, because no, this is why we should discuss it last, because we've made clear what is clear. There's always going to be something that we
Right.
completely understand. So that's when you should go to this bit that is not necessarily clear. If you want to start off with this Kahlan business, saying this is why you want to believe that Isa alayhi salam is returning, then what, are you going to reject all of the other things that we've said that is clear? You know? But yeah, I think that can be reconciled as well. But just hold up. What was this 2121 that I brought up? Because this 21, I was surprised to find this because I think it confirms something else as well. Yeah, or have they taken gods from the earth? They, Yun Shirun. Yeah, this is interesting. Is this what
Wow.
they've always given people? Resurrected gods, resurrected saviors.
Yeah.
Is this what they've always given people? You know, is this what has always been the ancient narrative? And is this what Isa alayhi salam is yet again in another form, a god
Right.
raised from the dead? Do you get what I'm saying?
And Sharahu is also, yeah, they would say like it's resurrect. Yeah, it's kind of like this mythology, this myth of the one that comes from death.
Yeah.
He's divine.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Because it's not something that is possible, you know.
It's unnatural. Yeah, supernatural.
Yeah. So these people, they falsely preach a God resurrected from the earth, but they do not believe themselves will be. This is the ironic thing. They
Right.
resurrected gods, but they themselves do not believe that they will be resurrected. Yeah. Not it is our death, the first, and not we will be raised again. Yeah. Very interesting. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. After hearing the guidance from Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they say mockingly, what did he just say? They are not a people of guidance and awareness of Allah. The question is being asked rhetorically. Do you look to see the hour? This is my understanding of this verse. Yeah. Right. Do you look to see the hour as though it will not come suddenly? You know, because what is the indication? We've just had it. And among them, Muhammad, are some of you, some who listen to you. He's been sent as a messenger with a book of guidance. There are among some of them who listen to you until when they depart. Yeah, these are like hypocrites, right? What has he just said now? You know, Allah then Allah has put a seal upon their hearts. It's these people that Allah is talking to. So do you look, except that the hour should come upon you suddenly, but its indications have come. For me, the indication is that this messenger has come to you with the Quran, and this is the sign of the hour. Yeah, he's come to guide. He's come to guide you. Look, Allah's talking about guidance, and those who accept guidance, He's increased them in guidance. Yeah, Muhammad coming with the message. These are the people rejecting the message. What good is you looking to see for proof of the hour when it just came to you? Yeah,
Right.
it just
Exactly.
came to you. Yeah, this is what I see there. So what good is for them when their reminder came to them? This Quran is the dhikr, yeah. And so after hearing the guidance from, well, the question is being asked rhetorically. Do you look to see the hour as though it will not come suddenly? That's what Allah is saying here. Whether you agree with me on that or not. So do they look except that the hour should come upon them suddenly? And we're going to come to that tomorrow, inshallah. Inshallah, Allah willing. Bhakta, it's a very important thing, man. Twinkling of the eye and this bhakta suddenly. But they do not believe themselves will be okay. So Allah has made it crystal clear. The hour of resurrection will come to everyone. Bhakta. Yeah. What good is looking for asar? Yes, when you have been granted ashratuha, indications that it will come suddenly. Therefore, whether you believe the arrival of the Quran or the arrival of Isa alayhi salam on this earth to be a sign or ashratuha, indication of the hour. The point is still the same. Time is coming to an end. Do not be in doubt about the arrival of the hour, the way the wealthier garden owner was in Surah Al-Kahf, but be like the companions of Al-Kahf and Al-Raqim that had no doubt about the arrival of the hour. Yeah. Follow, yeah. So yeah, this is the main thing, and it's in there. Oh, sorry, this is the whole context, by the way, in Surah Zukhruf. It's all there. Forget what the Quran is, the knowledge for the hour. Look at the entire context. Follow the messengers of Allah in following the book of Allah. This is the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Serving the same Lord of all the messengers, serving the same Allah of all the messengers. And again, we have Sirat al-Mustaqim a few verses later. Yeah, this is Sirat al-Mustaqim. Do not let shaitan turn, do not turn away from the messenger bringing you the message. Do not let shaitan, the clear adversary, avert us from Sirat al-Mustaqim. Allah says this. It's all there. And once you've opened up your eyes, now it all makes sense. Surah Zukhruf. It will come. So friends will be enemies on that day, Yawmul Qiyamah, except those who have awareness, those that are wary. So I'm not sure. I think I've looked at it, and there is an exception, about friends being enemies. That doesn't make sense that even good people will become enemies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. On that day, friends will be enemies of one another, except muttaqeen. Yeah. Except muttaqeen.
There's no word for friends there at all.
Okay. Akhillah. Wali. Guardian? No. What is it?
Is that the one?
I don't know. This is
On the day,
Khillah.
I don't know. Actually,
Hilal,
I just
Khalil.
it's
What's a
not.
Khalil? What's Khalilullah? Khalil. I think
Oh,
it's
maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Okay. I was thinking something else. Yeah.
So yeah, friends, those who had Iman in his evidences and surrendered to him, they will be invited, enter the garden, you and your pairs, joyous. So that's Surah Zukhruf for you, and it finishes off as well, a knowledge of the hour. So it carries on. We've got knowledge of the hour. So this is what it's about. If you really want to say that Isa alayhi salam is the sign of the hour, have you studied the hour right to the end of the surah as well? 4385. Yeah. And with whom is knowledge of the hour? This is very important, understanding this. Ilm as is with him, king of the heavens and the earth. Yeah. I know some people like to say that Muhammad is Lord of the heavens and the earth, but Allah is the King of the heavens and the earth, and the all-knower in heaven and the earth. Yeah. So yeah, we were not going to go into the intercession. I've also covered the intercession. I've looked at all of that, all of the verses there, but that's for the book. But yeah, just to finish off today, inshallah, last bit is this kahlan thing. So on of Isa alayhi salam. So, just a second. Okay, so and the last bit for today, inshallah, the Kahlan issue. That people believe that this is proof that Isa alayhi salam is returning in maturity 2,000 years later. Okay, so I've called this a blessed and miraculous life. As mentioned earlier, the supposed arrival or return of the Messiah, the return of Al-Masih, seems to be a polytheistic narrative that comes from those who imitate kufr sayings of those before them by taking Isa alayhi salam as a demigod. It's that simple. Yeah, you need to question, everyone needs to question whatever narrative that they have that matches this demigod narrative. Yeah. These verses 572 to 77 are examples of a monotheistic narrative. Actually, let me have a quick look which one that is. So once you put all of this together, you're like, okay, I think I know what Allah means here by kahlan. At least this is what I think. And it's nothing special because we make things special when we believe a certain narrative. So we make something more of something than it should be because we believe something. And vice versa. That's how distortion works. That's how imbalance works. So yeah, they disbelieve those who say Allah is the Messiah, not ascribing partners to him. Yeah, the whole Trinity business. What is it? Christ on yeah, he's no more than a messenger, before whom other messengers had passed away, and his mother was a woman of truth. They both used to eat food. Yeah, all right. I've heard you say this as well several times. They both used to eat food, right? Note how we make
Yeah.
clear the evidences to them. Then note how deluded they are. Absolutely. What's the word? Yufakun. Okay. Is there any more? Yeah. Do you worship apart from Allah? Yeah, he can't harm or benefit us. Yeah. This is a monotheistic narrative. Say, O people of Ahl al-Kitab, do not exaggerate in your deen, yeah, beyond the truth, and do not follow the opinions of people who went astray before and misled many and themselves strayed off the balanced way. Right. So this is the monotheistic narrative regarding Isa alayhi salam. Any miracles and divine powers are granted by the permission of Allah. We're not denying any miraculous um, natures, but this is the emphasis. Allah gives a monotheistic narrative of Isa alayhi salam, and any miracles or divine powers are granted by the permission of Allah. Other than this, so what reference is that? 5. Yeah, then that comes later. 5110. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This gets good. Yeah. This is I think I found something to confirm what a miracle would be and what a miracle is not. Because this is a very important thing. Because people say he's going to speak miraculously in Kahlan. That's what they say. Even though that doesn't say that in the verse, but that's what they say. So, any miracles and divine powers are granted by the yeah. So what do we have here? And how you would mold from the clay a shape of a bird by my leave, by my permission, and you would breathe into it, and it would become a bird by my leave or by my permission. Yeah, this is for me the evidence of what a miracle, if you want to define a miracle, is when Allah says, "By my leave, by my leave." Yeah, we're gonna get to that. So other than this, the Quranic narrative emphasizes that we are all born. Yeah, I think people will agree. We are told this in the Quran. It's a very common theme that we are all born. Many of us will most likely reach kahlan, maturity. As far as I've seen, that word means reaching somewhere between 30 to 50 years of age. Yeah. Now, this kahlan is only mentioned in 2 places in the Quran, 346 and 5110. So yeah, this is the point. There's a very human-like monotheistic narrative regarding Isa alayhi salam, not a demigod. Other than this, the Quranic narrative emphasizes that we are all born, we will all reach maturity, and we will all die. And we will all experience that day being resurrected alive. It mirrors a lot of what is told about Isa alayhi salam, mirrors
Yeah.
we will experience, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, so before we move away from discussing the supposed resurrection or the return of the Messiah as a sign of the hour, we must address this word kahlan, maturity. Yeah, and we have it here. So 346, وَيُكَلِّمُ النَّاسَ فِي الْمَهْدِ. So here's the cradle again. وَيُكَلِّمُ النَّاسَ فِي الْمَهْدِ وَكَهْلًا وَمِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. And he will speak to the people in the cradle and maturity, and he will be of the correct ones, the salih, the correct ones. Yeah, this is a Quranic prophecy that occurred in the past. Yeah, because that's what we're told, that the angel comes to inform Maryam alayhi salam what she is expecting to have happen in her life, right? And what she can expect regarding her son's life. This is what you would call a Quranic prophecy. So this is a real prophecy, yeah, Quranic prophecy. This is a Quranic prophecy that occurred in the past. It is from Allah through the angels telling Maryam alayhi salam what she can expect to see from her son in the future, that he will speak to people in the cradle and in maturity. That tells me that he will be born, he will do things, and he will reach a certain age. Yeah. If I was, again, I don't know how to use a better term than an alien coming from outer space. I need to replace that with something else. But basically, if I was impartial and I had nothing else said to me, this is what I would see. He will speak to people in the cradle. Of course, okay, we need to have a think about that. That is, that's not that is a bit odd. speaking in the cradle, that's something special. But what I would see that ordinarily as is Allah saying that he's going to be born and he's going to reach a certain age and he will be of the correct ones. Allah is informing her that his name will be Masih, Isa ibn Maryam, honored, distinguished in this world and in the hereafter. And of those brought near, what was the word you used? Yeah.
مقربين, yeah.
Al-Muqarrabin. Very interesting. Do we take, as you said, Al-Muqarrabin, those who are close, as people who are literally brought close to Allah? Yeah. The Quranic prophecy continues with Allah informing Maryam alayhi salam further that you can expect to see him speak to people as early as when he is an infant in Al-Mahdi, the cradle, and Kahlan, maturity, meaning that you can expect him to go on to live a complete life. That's what I see that meaning. Yeah, fine. There is something special about speaking in the cradle, which I don't know yet. I'm not completely decided on what that means. Yeah, I've got no problem if it does mean something miraculous, that he did literally speak to them. But why do we assume that when Allah speaks about Kahlan, that means that that's miraculous as well? And Kahlan maturity, yeah. So she indicated to him, yeah. Here it is again. They said, how can we speak to one who is in the cradle and infant? So this is the confirmation, by the way. Sorry, yeah. So let's go back. This is the confirmation. We go to this verse that Allah says he's going to speak in the cradle and maturity. People want to say that Kahlan is miraculous. Which one of these is miraculous? It's the one that Allah speaks of here in 1929. That they say, how can we speak to one who is in the cradle and infant? There's no other verse in the Quran that says, how can we speak to one in maturity after 2,000 years? But there is a verse which tells us that, yes, this is something special. But there is
That's removed from the Bible as well.
Right. But there is
It's
nothing.
not-
Okay, that's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So there is nothing that says, there is no verse that says he will speak miraculously to the people in cradle and maturity. If it said the word that he will speak miraculously, in the cradle and maturity, I will give you that. But there is no word here in the Arabic that says that there is something miraculous taking place here. This is a prophecy of what is expecting to occur. But how can we qualify that speaking to people in the cradle is something special? Because Allah qualifies it here. Yeah. So she indicated to him, and they said, how can we speak to one who is in the cradle and an infant? So yes, there is something special about that. Because they were surprised. How can we do this? So there is something special about that. But we're not strangers to special things happening to the messengers of Allah. Yeah.
Right.
The thing is, how do we assume that Kahlan is something special? That's the question. Speaking to people in the cradle is something amazing, as confirmed in the verse above. But how do we go from Allah prophesying that he will reach Kahlan, maturity? How do we go from this to he will speak miraculously as an adult? That's my question. Where is this miraculous part coming from? Is it coming from hadith? Yeah. There is no word for miracles being mentioned here. There is no doubt that the first part of the prophecy is quite incredible. How does one speak to someone in the cradle? Indeed, Allah is clearly pointing out that he will reach Kahlan, a certain lifespan. But then to twist this second part of the prophecy of his life and to say that this means that he will come back 2,000 years later and speak miraculously, there are many things that are clearly divine, unique, and miraculous about the life of Isa alayhi salam. But speaking miraculously 2,000 years later as an adult does not appear to be one of them. So you've got this verse, this one they use as well as proof that he's going to come back in the end of times, because they say the kitab is the Quran. I like how they decide that kitab is the Quran here in this verse. Yeah,
Exactly.
they choose that the kitab is the Quran in this verse, but not Ahl al-Kitab, not people of the Quran.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So, and he will teach, they say, and he will teach them, they say, the Quran. So they say, why was he taught the Quran if not for the reason that he's going to come back again and he's going to judge the world with the Quran? Astaghfirullah. Yeah. Right. So that's what they say. Allah forgive us for not doing our due diligence with the Quran. And he will teach them Al-Kitab, Al-Hikmah, Al-Tawrah. As you can see, I'm keeping them there untranslated because I'm not happy with their translations at all now. Al-Kitab, yeah. So the prophecy continues in future tense with Allah stating that yu'allimuhu, he will teach him knowledge from Al-Kitab. As far as I understood, I think I heard this from Shuaib Abdullahi, and I think I like it, and I think it makes sense. That Kitab, I think I heard it from Dr. Omar Ramahi as well, I think, that the Kitab is the source book of all this other knowledge that Allah gives us, whether it's the Torah, whether it's the Injil, whether it's the Quran, whether it's the Hikmah, whatever it is that Allah mentions, the Furqan, all of these different books or different attributes of books, I don't know, but it does seem like Kitab is a general, like the source where everything comes from. I don't know where you stand on this, Brother Eagle.
Yeah, it's my conception of Al-Kitab is something, yeah, it needs more fleshing out, but it's
Right.
pretty crazy. It's pretty pretty out there, but it's yeah. I can't say for definitively, but yeah,
Fair enough.
it's definitely beyond a
Yeah.
book that
Right.
we're used to.
Okay. Well, I'm happy with that. Yeah. But the point being made here for this purpose is that people saying that this is the Quran is again distortion. Yeah, it's twisting, trying to fit narratives, to convince that yeah he is coming back to judge with this book. So creating a design of a bird from clay and breathing life into it by the permission of Allah. Yeah, for me,
Yes.
these are the indications that this is divine and miraculous, because Allah says by
Mhm.
permission of Allah, curing the blind and the leper, giving life to the dead by the permission of Allah is divine and miraculous. Yeah, the
Mhm.
two uses of the phrase bi'idhnillah, yeah, by the permission or the announcement of Allah, because that's your adhan, by the way. That's what that root is, adhan. Yeah, that's why they say announcement, adhan for salah. So bi'idhnillah. So that's what that is. By the Allah has announced it, because Allah announces it, it happens. Yeah, or it's permission. However you want to put that. But anyway, the point is that these are the indications of what something miraculous is confirmed by Allah. The Quranic prophecy is similarly repeated with Allah now speaking in past tense. Yeah, so this happens twice. So this is another reason why they say that he's coming back, because they say one verse speaks in future tense when the angel is telling Maryam alayhi salam what is going to happen, a prophecy, and then the second verse is similar with the Kahlan, I think. No, with the Kitab I taught you. Yes. So this one, teaching the Kitab, the Hikmah, the Torah, and Injil is repeated twice. One is he will teach him. That's future tense, and that's when Maryam alayhi salam is being informed. He will teach him, and then it's repeated again, but in past tense, because on the day on Yawmul Qiyamah, this is the testification on the day when Allah will say, "O Isa ibn Maryam, remember my blessing upon you and your mother when I strengthened you with the Ruhul Qudus, I think. Yeah, Ruhul Qudus. And you spoke to the people in, oh, yes, here is the other one, Kahlan. Yeah. And you spoke to the people in Krelum. So I don't know, but
Why
yeah.
would Brother Waste, why would Allah reveal it as Al-Mahdi and Kahlan, and not like if they're two separate miracles,
Mm,
or like if they're two separate miracles, one is the return, one is the birth.
mm,
Why would Allah put them together, join them as like simultaneous, right?
mm.
So it's like he could have said in the cradle, then in maturity.
Right. Yeah. Well, looking at this one, and the strengthening. Remember when I did this? Yeah, this is a favor. This is a favor of Allah, right? All of this is a favor of Allah, a blessing of Allah. What is the blessing? That you were born, that you were given ability, you were given life until this point. Yeah, and I taught you these things. But yeah, again, like I say, what is the standout signifier for what a miraculous thing is?
Mhm.
Bismillah, and obviously we know that Mahdi is not mentioned with bi'idhnillah, but this is the qualifier, the verse in which they say, how can we speak to one who is in the cradle?
Right.
So yeah, this is my question. I mean, I'm just trying to be clear where clear is, and we have been clear about all the other apparent proofs
Mm-hmm.
which do not stand
Mm-hmm.
up about Isa alayhi salam returning. But yes, I will admit this Qatlan one, I don't know
Yeah.
everything. I don't have everything figured out. But what I would
Yeah.
say is that for me, I think the safe zone is to say that, yeah, this is simply saying that he's going to reach a certain age. Um,
Right.
uh,
Because it seems to be like Eli's taking a Mehdi that's kind of a space, and Kahlam could be a time aspect.
hmm.
You know, like there's always these kinds of opposites,
So
right?
you're going to the area where Qatlan is probably completely mistranslated as maturity.
It could be maturity. Like I don't have a problem. Like I put middle aged because that seems to be what it means in Arabic. Like when you
Right,
reach
right.
30, 40, 50,
Yeah.
not elderly and
Mm.
not too young either.
Yes.
Um,
Middle age, yeah, basically.
that makes sense. But
Yeah.
you know, Al Mahdi, I mean, you
Mm.
can't really communicate with the people inside a descendant of the Prophet, right?
Mm.
Right? Al Mahdi is actually a totally different
Well,
what
have a
do you
look at
call
this
it?
one. Have a look at this one. Are you saying that
Yeah,
the prophecies of the future end times, the warrior, stuck for I don't even want to speak like this, but what we
yeah,
expect to see, the warrior chopping off heads,
sure.
Jewish people coming back as an old man and doing that. Yeah, Catalan. I don't know. I don't know.
I
Um,
don't know because
I
yeah,
don't want to
it's
mock
like
or ridicule the messenger.
no, it's
I'm
not at
mocking
all.
these narratives that don't fit the
It's
Quran.
a caricature. The
Yeah,
entire Bible is to
yeah,
this day full of caricatures of the prophets, right?
yeah,
It
yeah,
uses their names, it changes their names and their stories and their character.
yeah.
It's like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is nothing new in that regard because they've been slandering prophets for a long time. Maybe
Right.
you could say killing their
Yes,
character,
yes,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, killing.
Right?
Stoning. Right. This is what they did. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Messengers.
It's
Yeah,
it's metaphorical as well as literal. And
yeah,
it's like okay, if you take the word Mahdi, because that's pivotal to
yeah,
this return of Isa,
yeah.
alayhi salam, it's not even the same. So you can't actually use this Mahdi in the Quran
Mm-hmm.
to explain the one in Hadith because they're different roots.
Mm-hmm.
This one is the root Mim Ha Dal.
Mm-hmm.
The Mahdi, that's the awaited one.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually the same root as Huda, which I think is
Yes,
like
yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're right. I've seen that. The Mahdi, you're right. It's got a ya, isn't it? It's not the same as
Yeah,
the Mahdi of this.
right.
But yeah,
So there is no Mahdi in the Quran.
yeah. There is
There's
no.
only Muhtadin.
Right. Yeah.
And what's interesting is that that actually translates to guided ones.
Mm,
They don't want you to be guided ones, the people that, kafirin, dhalimin.
mm,
Or they say that the Huda, the Yahud and Nasara says, we are the only ones who are guided, right?
right.
The guided ones.
Right.
So why does Mahdi mean guided one
Mm,
if Allah could have easily put this concept, and he did put this concept in the Quran,
mm,
but he didn't use the word Mahdi in
mhm,
there.
mm.
That tells you a lot. It tells you that maybe
That's right.
this is
Mm.
kind of a Arabic grammar
An-
toying
an-
around with Arabic words and definitions.
Anything of
Because
significance has uh
right,
something in the Quran. Anything of
yeah, yeah,
significance begins with
yeah,
some part
by
in the Quran.
definition,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
I've heard this idea, like people bring this up to. There's this is a sheikh, I forget his name, but I think his name's Karim Abu Zaid.
Mhm.
He's one of these like real hardliners,
I know who you're on about. I know who you're on about. Yeah.
And this convert would ask, "Hey, listen, why is Dajjal and Mahdi not mentioned in the Quran?"
Mm.
And his answer is pretty ridiculous. It's kind of like he says, "Well, the word Tawheed is not in the Quran."
Yeah.
He's not talking about the word.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough the word isn't, but
Yeah.
you can definitely derive Tawheed easily.
Yeah.
It just look at the root of the word, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the root of Mahdi has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the story represented in Hadith.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even know if Mahdi like even works in Arabic grammar. Like you have Muhammad,
Mm.
right, where it's like a praise, and he's like the person of that object. Wouldn't it be Muhdi, maybe? Like Muhtadi, right? Why is it Mahdi? It's different. I don't know. It's something I'm thinking about.
Something to look into. Interesting.
Yeah, but it's not even the same root, right? He's speaking in the Mahdi. Well, that you had a perfect opportunity as the creator of the heavens and the earth to put this gigantic truth of this Mahdi coming back or arriving out of occultation or whatever. And it's not there. It's not there.
It's funny because I know when I was younger, we would play with words, this is what we do. We play, well, even now today, play with words, but I don't know whether it's art, whether it's a mockery, whatever it is, we play with words. When you look at it, you really can see that they've taken bits out and they've made, fun. Yeah, they've made a lot of fun with a lot of this,
It's not even spelled the same way. It's not Mahdi.
Isa salam was in the Mahdi. Oh no. Let's now call Mahdi, this character here,
Yeah, exactly. The definitions are off. And we know like this root has to do with something in the earth, like a function of the earth. Mihad, al-Mihad, you have al-Mahdi, Mahidun. So I think that they're hiding something even more profound from this, because as far as I know, if this is a cradle, this has got to be the most amazing cradle ever, because it's singled out in history and time, whatever it is. But that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's clearly not an anointed savior. It's a place.
Right. But so the point is that going back to that, he will be taught those 4 books. It's said in future tense, then it's said in past tense that he'll be taught kitab or hikmah or Torah or Injil. But so again, once again, for those who might not be familiar, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, fortunately, Jews and Christians do not exist in the Quran. So therefore, that does make it questionable what Torah and what Injil is. Because again, I've already mentioned this in a previous recording, and I was just looking at it again last night after a long time. That this is what began my doubts in all of these man-made religions, when I could not find Musa alayhi salam being attached with the Torah in the Quran.
Right.
No mention of Musa alayhi salam with the Torah in the Quran. So where does this come from? He's got the Furqan, he's got the Kitab, he's got the Alwah, but where is the Torah with Musa alayhi salam? And instead we have the Isa alayhi salam has the Torah and the Injil. So these religions don't.
It's a valid point.
They don't stack up. These religions don't stack up.
Same thing I would say about Yusuf's brothers, right? The whole concept of Bani Israel being 12 tribes. Yes, there is some allusion to a truth of that, but nowhere does it mention that Yusuf has 11 siblings. And they'll use his dream at the start of Surah Yusuf, where it says, I saw the sun and moon, that represents his parents, but it's not actually his parents anyway. And it says 11 stars, but it doesn't say 11 stars because it uses star in singular. There's 11 of a star.
Is that Kawkab?
Kawkab, yeah. Kawkab. So it should have been Kawakib if it was in plural, and it represented 11 people prostrating to him.
Okay.
But it's not. It's one person.
Right.
And then the other thing is, the first mention we have of Bani Israel being divided into 12 distinct, I guess, confederacies or something. That would be after Fir'aun, when Musa does that. And Allah points for Musa 12 naqiban, or chiefs or something like that. So it's like almost not racial, right? Because it happens after. Bani Israel are, after the drowning of Fir'aun, they become these 12 districts or associations. Why weren't they like that before? I thought the story is Yaqub had 12 sons. No mention of that. No mention of that. So I'm inclined to believe, just like you are, that the entire history of religion, by far, is one of the biggest lies. And the biblical account is all that we're going off of. You go into the Hadith corpus and Tafsir of the Quran. They're taking traditions from the Bible. Israeliyat from the Jews. So hang on. Why are we using their book to confirm the Quran?
Is
It
what
should be the other way around.
Is this what the Crusades was about? To force through all of this?
You know what? I don't know, like, I don't know what's going on, but it really seems like everything's the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you have this Quran, it seems like it's been going around the world because all these things that, like, for instance, I'll give you an example. The word heathen, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the translations for the word Hanif.
Oh.
And I didn't understand this idea, but
How can you go from Hanif
apparently,
to heathen?
yeah, because obviously they're the Christians, right? This would be something
Hanif is
like,
Hanif is monotheist, right?
yeah. I mean, undoubtedly, it's the monotheist, it's the religion. It's the
Purity.
one that
Purity, yeah.
the God sanctioned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I remember I was talking to a Muslim gentleman. I don't know, I mean, at least a name. And he would tell me, I would tell him, yeah, you know, the religion of Ibrahim, Hanifan. And he said, no, that's a different religion. Muhammad came with Islam.
Yeah.
And I was so perplexed because this is what's actually taught. Apparently, Hanif is a religion of monotheism prior to the Prophet Muhammad coming with Islam. This is nowhere found in the Quran whatsoever.
No.
And
It defines itself.
what,
How do you know what Hanif is? Because Allah says he was this, he was not that. It's beautiful the way Allah does it. He was this, he was.
it's honestly, yeah, it's perfect. It's like you go into Arabic, right? And it's like the definition of Hanif
He was not a mushrik. He was Hanif.
right,
not a mushrik.
right. Is belonging to the right religion of true belief. And then the other definition is someone connected to a wrong religion. And then you go into Syriac, it means Gentile, heathen, pagan.
Wow.
You can see what I'm getting at. There was a religion that they tried to exterminate. And they probably did, because nobody calls themselves Abrahamists, you know?
That's right. You're right. They've done a good job. Look at how foreign it seems to us. You're absolutely right. I never thought about it. When I came onto this, 6 months or 7 months or where it was earlier this year, I did not give it a chance to think of how foreign it was. This is the response to everyone when we're saying it, how foreign it sounds to them. But once you see it in the Quran, you're embracing it, you're taking it, right? But everyone else around you is like, yeah, this is weird. And
Yeah,
now you're reminding me why, because you're right. They've done a really good job. They've eradicated it.
very, very good job. I would suggest most of the people called pagans in history were nothing of that sort. They were doing Hajj, just like Ibrahim. They were giving zakah. They were doing salah. They were doing all the same things that we're supposed to do in the Quran, but we've forgotten what they actually mean. It's been taken away from us. We memorized the book, but then the meaning has lost. So it's not really a protection from our part. Allah protects it. Everything from it is under Allah's protection. But we need to really do jihad with this Quran. Understand, you know, like, for example, who is the first Muslim in the Quran? It's not the Prophet.
I heard Muhammad Sheikh yesterday saying that he translated that as I am commanded to be one of the first Muslims. Or I know
it could be.
It could be
because it doesn't say. Even if it doesn't say the first.
Even if it is I'm commanded to be the first Muslim, and there are others who are saying the same thing, I'm okay with that. For me, it can say that, oh, this is a contradiction of who is the first Muslim in the Quran. No, it's not.
It's a bit of semantics, but it's important because it's like it's not the first, but it's first of the Muslims. He says that in first person.
He says one
Ibrahim.
First. He says one.
Right.
The first.
Yeah, if it's one of the first, I don't have a problem. But he is singled out with that term, that title, the Muslims, first of the Muslims. And then when you look at Musa, salam, same thing happens to him, except instead of Muslims, it's mu'mineen. First of the believers. Isn't this strange? I thought we were led to believe that Islam came with the Prophet. They would tell you Islamic Prophet Muhammad, right? Now that's how they talk officially. No, not at all. But in Dawah, they'll say, "Oh, this is the religion of mankind, of Allah. He sanctioned it for Bani Adam." but it's way deeper than that, because it seems like what we're talking about is Ibrahim is the father of the Ummah. He actually is given the title, your father.
Yes,
Allah speaking to the believers, Ibrahim. Yeah, Abaikum. He is your father. Spiritually, but I don't know, maybe there's something to it. Maybe why did Allah single out Ibrahim and his dhurriyyat? Because there may be something to that. Like you have Nuh, he has progeny. Ibrahim has progeny. Adam has progeny. Is there something going on? And why are the wives of the Prophet singled out? These are all questions nobody has answered, right?
Yeah.
It's like open-ended still. And I can't give a definitive answer because you want to be certain, right? Like Allah, He gives power to yaqeen, to certainty. It's not about belief. It's about proof. Belief is just a fancy way of saying, like, I can't see what's in front of me, but I know it's there. You know, your perception is not limiting you.
I'm conscious we're approaching 3 hours. I just want to wrap this up.
That's the thing.
As always, no, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful session, as was on Sunday as well. Alhamdulillah. But anyway, to get back to this, so Allah says that, in 2 different verses, one is future tense, one is past tense, that He will teach Isa alayhi salam the Kitab, the Hikmah, the Torah, and the Injil, and then it's in past tense. Did I not teach you? The point is, at the end of the day, to say the Al-Kitab, the book, is Al-Quran that was sent down to Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that therefore this is proof that Isa alayhi salam is returning to judge over mankind, which includes judging over the Muslims using Al-Quran, is unfortunately a fantastical leap, to say the very least. Do we truly know what all the different names or the different attributes of Al-Kitab are? This is what we just spoke about earlier. I'm okay with that, not knowing clearly. Again, I'm just trying to emphasize on what is clear. Those from Ahl al-Kitab, the family of the book, who securely believed with Isa alayhi salam, followed the book of Allah. That's the main thing that we can agree on. They followed the book of Allah. Yeah,
exactly.
And today, those who follow Al-Quran, the final book of Allah, are following all the messengers as they all followed the book of Allah. Belief, it doesn't sound too crazy to me when Muhammad Sheikh is up there on Speaker's Corner holding the Quran and telling that Jew, this is what Musa alayhi salam was given.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing, because it says in that Surah Zukhruf, a Arabic Quran, not the. So that implies there's more than one.
That's it. This is what I was saying earlier, and it's hard to fathom to begin with. And that's the other thing. I don't believe this anymore, that all of the other scriptures were tampered with, but Allah decided to protect this Quran. Oh my God, what are we believing in? What are we believing in? That Allah allowed His previous scriptures to be tampered with? That His previous scriptures, this is the only one.
Concerning
that Allah decided to only protect this one. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, brother.
On the topic of Ahl-Kitab, concerning, the verse that you mentioned where none among the Ahl-Kitab will believe. I mean, after his death, there will be none except that they believe in him. I was just thinking about that, and I was thinking, if that happened before the Quran, if these events were before the Quran, why would the Quran still address Ahlul Kitab concerning his messiahhood and his non-divinity, and why would it be giving lectures about his history and arguments for all of that in the Quran?
Brother Eagle, would you like to take that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear most of the question. I was kind of
would you like
you're saying about that verse, right? With none from Ahlul Kitab will there are none from Ahlul Kitab except that they believe in him.
With him, by the way, they
believe him.
So if that, I was just thinking, like, if that event already happened and it was before the Quran, why would it still be stressed? Why would the Quran be speaking to a group of people that believe in his divinity and that don't accept his messiahhood, and giving detail saying this is Jesus, this is his story, and for example saying don't say three, and he is the Messiah, and believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
If this event of his death has already happened,
Mm.
shouldn't I just don't understand why the Quran would
Well,
approach them in
I
that
mean that's
way.
similar. Isn't that similar to saying about Musa alayhi salam's story? You know, the emphasis of Musa alayhi salam's story about past. It resonates about us not repeating mistakes or letting similar issues creep into our own beliefs. You know, there's many things that are within the Quran that are relevant to us today, as well as, you know, they were relevant to those more so in the past, and that, you know, some things we are still taking lessons from today, right? It's hard for me to say clear cut, but this
So
is what.
is it like is
Yeah.
it like that they turn back on their heels, back to their old ways again, and so
Yeah.
this is
That
still a
that that rings
message?
a
Or
bell. That rings a bell that they always seem to go back. Yeah.
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 Even in the Prophet's time, they had three deities of worship, right?
Mm.
Like they were goddesses, I guess.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like kind of a
I mean,
human
look at
nature.
look at what Brother Eagle pointed out, was it 6 weeks ago or something like that? You know, with the sun, the moon, the Venus, you know, people will say
Ibrahim's time as well.
people will say that Trinity is old, yeah, and it's like this, but here we are today. We are now recognizing Trinity as being um, far more, you know, creeping into people's beliefs than we would be comfortable in believing, you know, seeing.
so we would have like now we would have not the Ahlul Kitab of before, because now they should believe already. They believed.
Mm.
But now we have like people that imitated them, or people that are imitating them, or people that have picked up
It's
where they left and they're not Ahlul Kitab.
Yeah,
yeah, it's like
look, look, wait,
yeah.
sorry. I just want to say this. Like, for example, people say Dajjal, you know, what you don't believe is real. No, I believe is real. I see everything that's happening in the world. I see all of these things that they're doing, and that they actually even label it as Antichrist. They even, you know, you got was it Noah Yuval Harari? He will even
Right.
go and say, "Oh, this is the Antichrist system," or this the Antichrist, you know, whatever it is. These people outright say Antichrist. So for me to turn around and say, "Oh, Dajjal isn't real," well, that doesn't really do it justice. Is it from the Quran? That's the
Right.
that's the question. Same thing with what you're saying,
Mhm.
you know, about what you see
Yeah.
happening in the world, what you see happening with you know, people say, "Oh, you don't believe Jewish are real." Jewish are definitely real. Look at what they follow,
Right.
you know, look at what they wear, look at how they speak, look at what, you know,
Yeah.
they're definitely real. But is it, you know, what we think it is? Is it what we've been taught
Yeah.
in the Quran? That's the question. Um, so yeah,
It's almost like they're trying to shoehorn this kind of idea
yeah,
um, of what the world is
yeah,
from the text of the Quran. But the Quran is universal. It's
yeah,
not going to just talk about Jews and Christians and neglect, you know, Buddhists and
yeah.
Shintoists. It has
Right.
to be way more far-reaching than. I mean,
On that note, I really recommend everyone do it because I haven't watched it. I've only watched the first part, but Muhammad Sheikh's old recording of his study on Yahud and Nasara, it's called The Helpers. Was it The Helpers and the Lenient? Yeah, The Helpers and the
right.
Lenient.
Yeah.
Right. If you watch that, he begins his session by going through a whole list of psychological attributes of people in the Quran.
That's it.
The way he begins this, yeah, he says, Allah says, you are mentioned in this Quran, meaning you individual
Right.
are mentioned in this Quran. Your
Right.
attributes, your nature, your
Exactly.
personalities, yourselves, and he goes through a whole list. He goes through positive psychological traits, and then he goes through negative psychological traits, yeah. And he says, I had to give you this so that you can now understand, now that we can finally go into Yahud and Nasara, yeah, and understand the people who like to help, yeah, the people who like to, you know, the people who have got the philosophy of helping. Oh, we need to help everyone. This is how we
Right.
succeed in the world. We need to help everyone, you know, and this is
Mhm.
how people will pray for us. And then you got this other group that is like, oh no, we have to be lenient with everyone, you know, we have to be, you know, we just have to allow this, you know.
Right.
If you think of it like that, it changes your paradigm, and you're like, a lot more makes sense.
Completely.
A lot more makes
Completely.
sense, you know. So
It,
again, this is very hard stuff to fathom for those who haven't begun their journey, wherever their journey are, wherever they are on their journey. But Yeah, I recommend watching that session because then you will question Ahl al-Kitab. He says family of the book. Yeah, family of the book. You'll
Right.
see, again, people say what? Christians aren't real. Yeah, we know. Well, I mean, come on, Christians, Horatians, Horus, Helios. How much do we have to discover to realize that this, this is all falsehood,
Yeah. I mean, even the term Yahud, right?
Yeah.
Al-Yahud.
That's the one that
It
he
cannot.
says. That's the one that he says. He goes, the Prophet Hud, the Arabic of Prophet Hud is no
There you
different
go.
from Hud. Yeah. And you are telling me
And
that Prophet Hud, yeah, is a lenient messenger. And here you're telling me Hud is
yeah.
Jew. Are you telling me that Prophet Hud
Yeah.
is Jew? Yeah. It's the same Arabic. You agree with me? It's the same.
Mm.
And you're telling me Prophet Hud is not Jew. But these people, this Hud,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's spelled the same way. And the interesting thing is too is that those three terms, Alladina Hadu, Hudan, and Yahud, specifically are translated all as Jew or Jewish.
Yes.
And they're not treated the same way in the Quran. I looked and I noticed that Al-Yahud is never in a positive light.
Right.
Hud, Alladina Hadu, however, can earn the reward of paradise.
Right.
And Hudan, I think, is also kind of like ambiguous as well. But look, you can just go for yourself. This is the one that really is the nail in the coffin for what Judaism is in the Quran. Musa alayhi salam has an event where he selects 70 men, and there's an earthquake that happens, and the people from him, because this is referenced in the Bible, I think in Deuteronomy, if I'm not mistaken, and basically they say, "Hudna ilayk." Okay, so this is a verb. It's the same verb as alladina hadu. Hadu. It says, we have turned toward you. They're speaking to Allah. Well, why would they not put we have become Jewish? Well, because it doesn't make any sense. How can you become Jewish towards a direction?
Right.
Especially to Allah.
Right.
He would have named that.
Yeah.
If you look at the word Jewish, Judah, Judaism, ultimately you look at Hebrew and it's Yehuda. Oh, that sounds kind of similar.
Yeah.
The only problem is this is the Hebrew sound mimicking the Arabic one, the Arabic word. Right. And they're two different words. The root in Hebrew for Yehuda, the tribe of Judah, the son of Judah, is actually comes from Yadda, which means hand.
Right.
It has nothing to do with Yehud or like you have to take all these names of the prophets, which they fail to translate what they mean in Arabic, and take it to its most central meaning. And Yehuda doesn't have anything to do. It would be cognate with Arabic yad, which is hand.
Well, I think
this is the one that I'm like, what the heck? Yehuda is not Yehud. It's not. So Yehud means totally different thing in Arabic than what we would see in Hebrew. This is usually the case. So the other thing, Nasara, just look at that root. Has
we will be doing our
it's
on this.
It's pretty obvious. And what's the most amazing thing is this is how the world is set up. We do have these parallels, these kind of like East and West. We have a kind of freedom fighters, and then we have tyrants.
Yes.
Allah is trying to point out a characteristic of humanity based on geography and time. That will basically be the same way until the end of time. Even kafirin and zalimin.
When they say be Yahud or Nasara, that is the only way you will attain paradise. That makes sense.
That makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. Be of our type, where we should allow these people, the LGBT, be lenient. We should allow them.
There you go.
Liberal, maybe, being liberal.
See?
We should allow everyone.
You automatically, when that word is brought forward, you automatically know what it's referring to in your time. And you're correct. That's exactly what I thought as well. The West.
Right. Exactly.
And then the other side of that.
The other side is
Nasara. Right. I mean, I kind of put this as like
the ones who claim that we are the helpers of
Allah.
The ones who claim that we are the helpers of Allah.
Right. And you can see what they're it's so amazing. I can't wait to really go through that deep dive with you, but it's so amazing to me that Isa was sent to people that he literally had to create the form of a bird and bring it to life to show them that God is one. Why? Why was he sent to people that make statues? Why did he have to break those statues? Why did he have to leave his father? Because the trait of these people is their adherence to tradition. They're stuck in, they don't use logic. Notice Ibrahim, he's always rationalizing.
Tactics won't work.
No, because I've heard people say, like, if you were in his position and you were going to do signs like Musa, they would just make up something about that. So, oh, this is our God, the sun, he did this.
Until the flood comes, or the wave comes, and like Fir'aun, and now I believe in the God of, was it, as you said, the God of
right,
those,
the God of
those.
the one that Bani Israel worshipped, right? They worship many gods. That's not specific enough. It's a bit of a technicality, but that's how it goes with Fir'aun, because he thought he was God. You can look it up. He's the one. All the transhumanism stuff, I mean, it's obvious where it comes from. Turning man into God, apotheosis. The brother's question, Brother Ahmed, is basically what we see with these prophets is they're not stuck in time. Their message and their stories. They're just reflections of what the world always will be. So Musa, there's a flood, right? He gave the 9 signs, Fir'aun. The Prophet, peace be upon him, Prophet Muhammad, he is sent exactly like Musa is sent. This is something amazing, because that means Fir'aun is not one person. He was one person with Musa, but it's just the title. Anybody can be a Fir'aun today. There could be one right now. And the Prophet could have been sent to fight one of them back then. There could have been exactly the same scenarios you see with the drowning and turning the river to blood and all this. And Musa really
fire and brimstone, fire and brimstone.
Everything.
So
even the people of
Lot.
Lot.
Is it like saying there was Al Fir'aun and there was Musa, and then there was Ahlul Kitab and there was Isa, and now there's like another Ahl, and there's going to be another person that comes or something like that?
It's just like you have these patterns in human history, and Allah knows exactly the right person to address that problem. He needs to do it like Allah does it for us at a specific time, so that like he says, he checks people from others because otherwise there'd be tyrants everywhere. Like it'd be impossible to live. And
I could not emphasize enough, honestly, Muhammad Sheikh, because you're talking about 30 years worth of work. I didn't even know there was a person who did this much work on the Quran,
right?
These many lectures, and even got shot, in the process.
I couldn't believe that. That's pretty, it's amazing.
And he's still on Speaker's Corner at the age of what, 70 or something, in his 70s. Still people, laughing at him and everything. This guy has got a serious body of work behind him, and it's really worth looking at. I'm sure no one's ever going to get it perfectly, but he's done a lot of work, and
it will be worth it.
Yeah,
it will be worth it one day.
Exactly.
I'm glad he's still alive, actually. Because he's getting pretty old. But that's the idea, is that we're living in the realm that is like Fir'aun. And then there's other realms like that. People of Lot, you have, because Allah doesn't use infinitive or absolute terms for these qawms. He says qawm Lot, not al-qawm.
That's what exactly. You just hit it on the head again. It's not specific necessarily to a certain time. This Ahl al-Kitab as well, it's the same thing. The family of the book. That's why I say listen to Muhammad Shaykh.
Not specific.
I think he understands it better than I will understand it right now, or even yourself. I don't know. It's worth looking at. But Ahl al-Kitab, family of the book.
Encompasses so much. How could you say Buddhists are not Christians as well? They have a very similar approach to life as
absolutely.
Hindus in a similar way. Hindus have a lot of similarities with Judaism.
Absolutely.
It doesn't work when it's divided this way. It has. I don't even know who Sabi'un are, but I'm sure that's a huge piece of the puzzle, or Majus.
You're right, absolutely. This will all start to make sense. This is what it is. These things then become clearer over time once you've done these other bits of work.
Even the grammar of it, right? Alladina hadu.
Yeah.
Why didn't Allah call it Alladina nasaru or ansaru?
Well, it's
He put
interesting.
it as
It's interesting that
specific.
it's interesting that he said, that Allah never says, "Oh, you Muslim." He never says that. He always says, "Oh,
No.
Oh, you believers." Well, not believers. Oh,
Right.
you are secure, or
Right.
yeah, you're secure ones. But it's interesting that it's never, "Oh, you Muslim." And he does say,
Yeah.
look, he says everyone in the world is a Muslim. So this is the point. This is why I recommend watching it. He's laying out these psychological attributes that we have within us. Yeah. Which one is it? Allah is beckoning us. Like, which one are you following?
If your body did not submit to Allah, you wouldn't be alive.
Right. But the thing is, he's saying that everyone is a Muslim. And I like how he said this. Everyone is a Muslim. Everyone is submitting to some ideology or belief in this world. Are you a Muslim for Allah, though? Are you,
exactly
the one who submits to Judaism is a Muslim Jew? I like how you said it. The one who
they fast. They
is
even obey Allah and obey the messenger, right? I mean, I always thought, prior to the Hendiditis kind of explanation that, all these religions will claim they obey Allah.
Yeah.
But not the messenger. Because the messenger comes with this book.
Yes. Yeah.
This is a difference.
That's true as well, what you said, even though we understand it better, but that's still true, what you just said there as well.
Well, yeah, because the beauty of these verses is that they're not just universal. They're like all encompassing.
Yeah.
Allah says when the word has come upon them. He's being very specific about that. Like, we are encompassed by these ayat, by these words, his words. We can't help. He created the universe with words.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, all you have to do is you have to take some, specific word in the Quran that you're interested in, and then you look at where it's used, and you'll notice lawh. It's used in the story of Noah, where he uses to build his ark, quote unquote, and then it's used with Musa when he throws them down, and it's used in, you know what I mean? Like, this has to mean something. It's not random. Allah is not using
this
these
is
random.
exactly what Muhammad Sheikh does as well. This is why we would work. He takes these words. He says the corpus, he helped accelerate his work, just like it does with us. And on that note, I've done the same thing with the hour, as-sa'a, which I'm hoping for to again, inshallah. But just to wrap up this bit before we get to the hour. So to say that, that's the leap. The belief. And today, all those who follow Al-Quran, as I just said, those who follow Al-Quran, the final book of Allah, are following all the messengers as they all follow the book of Allah. The belief that Isa alayhi salam was taught Al-Quran, sent down to Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that he is returning in Kahlan, maturity 2,000 years later, is clearly yet again the harms that come from applying Christian hadith and any other devil-inspired hadith onto the Quran, rather than letting the Quran speak for itself. So this will be next, not for today, but just to give you an idea. So this is because of my study on the hour, which is really opening up a lot. Basically eschatology. You got I'll just list out some of these for you. So we got knowledge of the unseen now. We got the great expectations, about suddenly, the word Bhakta. We got the great hadith. These verses talking about the hadith, what they could mean in this context about eschatology, understanding about fatalism, fate, this qadar, which comes from hadith, believing in this 6th article of qadar, because it's all connected to future prophecies, believing that everything Allah has decreed and decided in this, and it's in these other books. What is Iman? Then touch on the not speaking from desire that people use. The hadith is what Allah is referring to about not speaking from desire. The exception. So this is a very important one, the exception. So Allah says that the hour is only with him, and he does not share the hour with anyone, not the keys, not the signs, nothing, not any kind of familiarity. This is what I'm saying. If you do your homework, you're going to get a mountain of evidence that there is no sharing any eschatology here with anyone, but Allah gives an exception. And this is very interesting because I think this is the watchers in the Quran, yeah. I think I found the watchers that we hear about in the Bible. I think, the security detail that Allah sends with the Quran, that is the exception as far as I can see. And Allah says this is the exception, that Allah does not share the unseen with anyone except for when He chooses a messenger and sends a message, and He sends His security detail along with that message for it to be delivered. Again, a lot of this might go over people's heads, but I'm just kind of giving a brief glance at what there is to discuss. Yeah, prophets prophesying prophecies. I think Surah Naba defines what a Nabi is. Then there's the Kahin, the soothsayer.
Right.
Oh, this is very interesting. Bring 10 surahs, right? Bring 10 surahs like it.
Yeah.
Bring a surah like it. I think it's very interesting that Allah repeats that in a similar way. Bring a hadith like it if you are truthful. Bring a surah like it if you are truthful. It makes sense that this Quran is the hadith. Ahsan al-hadith. This Quran is consistent of surahs, and it's these people who are trying to create surahs and hadith, not just hadith. They're trying to create surahs and hadith like the Quran. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
probably came around the same time even.
Yeah.
We don't know. It's like, why do they call it hadith?
Yeah.
Hadith is only one. There's millions of them.
You said it, ahadith, yep. Yeah, the collection.
Yeah, it's supposed to be ahadith.
Yeah.
But Quran doesn't mention that because it doesn't recognize them as that.
Yeah.
And even the whole idea of Isa and that whole fitna created around him.
Yeah.
I mean, we still use the calendar Anno Domini, which is 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
It means year of our Lord.
Yeah.
Like after the Lord. We're still using this calendar, like Jesus being God.
Yeah.
That's the whole story behind it. 2,000 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just amazing, like you could say we've progressed beyond that time period, but if anything, we've regressed.
Yeah. And then I've got so the Hendidias that you just mentioned a little while ago, Allah speaking one by two, and it looks clear to me that Shaitan is splitting that one into two in more ways than one. I think it's the hour and the day as well. The hour and the day, as far as I can see from my study, is speaking about the same day. It's the hour of resurrection on the day of resurrection, and he seems to be splitting that into two as well. And then there's a section on casting stones. Suddenly, in the twinkling of an eye. So Allah makes it clear the hour is coming suddenly in the twinkling of an eye. So when that brother Muhammad from God said that, people are waiting for Isa alayhi salam as the return, as the sign of the hour, and he's saying the Quran, I'm with the Quran because Allah says so, and there you are following Shaitan, because he's getting you to wait for Isa alayhi salam's return, Whereas, if you do your homework again, you'll find that it's all sudden, and you don't know when. Sudden in the twinkling of.
I think that's why we have this calendar, because so whoever made it knows that Isa is going to be a bigger fitna because than when he was alive, because they're not going to just put all these prophecies and soothsaying hearsay for no reason. I think they're really going to bring it out there for everyone to choose.
Yes. And that's why we need to do this, because we know this is going to ramp up this whole Messiah and eschatology and everything. So may Allah bless your work and my work and our work. Just for whoever it is that agrees and needs this sanity in their own minds of rejecting the nonsense. So and the last one that I've still got to write up on is the dark side of the moon. Finally, going through that verse where the moon has split. Right.
Oh, perfect.
The hour has drawn near and the moon is split. Putting it all together, we can put that to bed as well, inshallah.
This is one that keeps coming up, honestly.
Yeah, I know.
I looked at Sheikh Uthman the other day for curiosity. He's still using this as dawah.
Yeah.
The Prophet split the moon.
Yeah, well, there's
about
both. There's both. Even if you don't want to reject the hadith about the moon, right?
Sure.
Then there's those who are using the verse saying, no, this is the indication that the end of time has happened. So when they went to the moon, they say that's when the end of time started to happen. That's what they say. You know, these ways you've got to put all of these things in perspective, put them together, and say no. This splitting of the moon is happening as the hour draws near, meaning the hour has drawn near, and now all of these things are happening. The moon is split,
Exactly.
the sun is being rolled up, the mountains are moving, the seas are set ablaze, the earth is convulsing. All of these are happening.
Right.
Maybe the moon is the first thing that happens. Yeah, the moon splitting on
Sure.
that, you know, when we are at the same time when we are resurrected from our graves. That's the hour, by the way. Yeah, so maybe Judgment Day is longer. Maybe that hour is that short period of the long period of time. Yeah, then maybe Yom Qiyamah is a long period. It's a terrible one, terribly long for the ones who are failing, and who knows? But that
A day
hour,
to your Lord is like 1,000 years, right? There's that idea.
but that hour, however you want to put it, we don't need to confine it to what we understand as an hour. We can just say it's a shorter period of time on that longer period of time, you know.
Right.
So anyway, that's all still to come. Better stop it here because it's definitely gone past 3 hours, I think. And yeah, Jazakallah khair for everyone that was listening in the background and is going to be listening on YouTube. And especially to you, Brother Igor, and Brother Ahmed Noor, and Brother Joel for contributing. And yeah, hopefully see you tomorrow, inshallah. Everything permitting. And yeah, and the day after as well. Let's make the most of this weekend, inshallah. Okay. Okay, so that's it. I'll stop here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam.